Chapter 168. Third brother, congratulations! Tang Yu smiled. Tang San looked at Tang Yu strangely. However, he still smiled and said, "Thank you." These 3 words contained many meanings. You should settle down first. You're still a newbie who just became a god. Do you want to spar with me? Tang Yu smiled strangely. Sure, Tang San replied. He also wanted to test his strength after becoming a god. However, every time he thought about it in the future, he really wanted to slap himself to death. Who asked him to be so talkative and get beaten up by light rain until he couldn't move for a day? After that, Tang Yu said, gods aren't really immortal. They just have an endless lifespan. However, gods can be killed. So, third brother, you have to be careful in the future. The continent Tang San and Qian Rinxue put on a god's battle. Tang San, you're really strong. You're worthy of being the man I've chosen. It can also be said that you're the only man I've ever been attracted to in my life. From now on, I won't run away from anything. I'll face everything between us head-on. Although I don't want to admit it, from the battle just now, my divine telekinesis is indeed inferior to yours. I can't kill you even when you're not familiar with the use of Poseidon's skills. When you're familiar with it, I'm afraid I won't be your opponent. However, don't forget that we're both gods of the same level. My strength is inferior to yours, but it doesn't mean that I can't drag you to die with me. Grandfather is dead. I don't have any relatives left. What's the point of the power of the martial soul empire? I have no attachments. Let's end today's battle here. Remember, the next time we meet, I'll definitely drag you to another world. Didn't you say that we'll become friends there? Alright, I'll fulfill your wish. Goodbye for now, my love. As soon as her voice fell, Qian Rinxue suddenly retracted her wings and retreated. Under Tang San's dumbfounded gaze, she turned into a golden meteor and disappeared into the horizon in the blink of an eye. The angel domain in the air also slowly dissipated with her departure. Aren't you going to kill her? Tang Yu asked. Tang San shook his head and looked at Tang Yu. Why didn't you do it? Tang Yu was silent for a while. I thought you would, Oscar chuckled with a mysterious look on his face. Brother, I've hit the jackpot this time. Oh? What happened? Tang San asked curiously. That's a divine seed. You can take the test once you reach level 99. Tang Yu explained. Oscar looked at Tang Yu in surprise and said, So you already know. It's not just you. Look at them. Tang Yu pointed at everyone at the side. Tang San and Oscar looked and were shocked. Zhu Zhuqing had slowly opened her eyes. Her black eyes were as dazzling as 2 black pearls. The illusion formed around her body was much more obvious than Oscar's. When she stood up from the ground, her every movement gave off an illusory feeling. It was as if there were a series of afterimages on her body. A black light entered her body from the top of her head. Both of them were shocked. That's a level 1 god, the god of phantoms' divine seed. Tang Yu said. A 9-colored light descended from the sky and landed on the 9 treasures glazed pagoda. Suddenly, the 9 treasures glazed pagoda, which was already very bright, seemed to be rejuvenated. The dazzling colorful light turned into a pillar of light that shot up into the sky and changed in the air. Vaguely, a huge virtual image appeared in midair. The virtual image was very clear. It was a woman wearing a 9-colored dress with a smile on her face. She bowed slightly in the direction of Tang San and Tang Yu, then looked in the direction of Ning Rongrong. Her lips were moving as if she was saying something. F***ck. Oscar cursed. That's a 9-colored divine seed. Tang Yu said. A loud phoenix cry soared into the sky. Blazing heat filled the entire peak of Poseidon Mountain. The fog surrounding Ma Hongjun instantly turned red. Then, a huge fire phoenix soared into the sky and turned into a reddish-gold belt of light in the air. At the front of the belt of light, a phoenix with a length of 10 meters spread out its wings. There were a total of 9 phoenix heads looking around. The fire energy it emitted dyed the entire sky with a faint layer of red. There was a red light on top of the phoenix's head that directly entered the phoenix's body. It can't be? Tang San was in disbelief. That's the god of the 9 phoenix. It's the same grade as the third brother. It's a lost beast god. It's now automatically acknowledging Ma Hongjun as its master. Tang Yu was a little surprised. The fog around Dai Mubai's body suddenly exploded with a boom. The surging fog drifted behind him and formed a huge virtual image of a white tiger under everyone's gaze. Dai Mubai suddenly opened his eyes. 2 cold bolts of lightning cut through the air. Wherever his gaze passed, there was a series of thunder and lightning crackling in the air. A tiger-shaped light burrowed into Dai Mubai's body. F***CK. They're still here? When did gods become so worthless? Oscar shouted. This is a lost beast god, the howling sky god. Tang Yu's eyes were full of surprise. He could actually see the howling sky god and the god of the 9 phoenix? These 2 gods were once followers of the first god of emotions and members of the peace faction. They were iron-blooded men who died protecting the divine beasts during the Dragon God War. Agility Hall by Qinxiang sat cross-legged on the bed. 8 soul rings floated around her. The word speed above her head was glowing. Boom. She felt as if something in her body had begun to sublimate. Behind the 8th red soul ring, a 9th red soul ring with 6 golden patterns appeared. The second test of the extreme speed assessment, upgrade to titled Doluo, completed. Extreme speed compatibility increased by 10%. Bai Qinxiang opened her eyes and touched her forehead. What is this? To Xiao Wu, Shura's god's power was cool and gentle. At most, it was a little faster. However, to Tang San, Shura's god's power was full of destruction. Xiao Wu's soul power met it head-on, but it didn't have any effect at all. The terrifying Shura's god's power was like a sharp needle, forcibly passing through Xiao Wu's soul power and flowing directly into her meridians. At this moment, Tang San's Poseidon's god's power finally caught up. However, by the time he caught up, Shura's god's power had already divided into millions and poured into Xiao Wu's different meridians at the same time. It stuck close to Xiao Wu's meridians and instantly seeped into Xiao Wu's meridians, merging into one. Tang San was ready to use his god's power to envelop and destroy Xiao Wu, but he couldn't do it now unless he was prepared to destroy all of Xiao Wu's meridians. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to do anything to the Shura's god's power that had merged into Xiao Wu's body. Xiao Wu didn't seem to have anything wrong with her. There was a faint blush on her pretty face, just like a red apple. She looked very pleasant. The energy aura on her body had broken through the bottleneck of rank 95 and entered rank 96 with the help of Shura's god's power. Even Tang San had to use Poseidon's divine sense to detect the Shura's god's power in her body. Retracting his hands, Tang San stared fixedly at Xiao Wu in front of him. He was now very afraid that Xiao Wu's body would be blown apart by Shura's god's power in the next moment. The only thing he could do now was pray. It could be said that Xiao Wu's body had been soaked in Shura's god's power. Even Tang San wouldn't be able to stop it when it exploded. At this moment, no one noticed that in the corner, a dark red light suddenly rose and floated towards Xiao Wu and Tang San. He did see Tang Yu, but would he stop it? Obviously not. Tang San's divine sense moved slightly and immediately felt the presence of that aura. When he turned his head to look, he saw the 2-meter-long Shura's demon sword, which he had forgotten in Poseidon's hall, slowly floating towards him and Xiao Wu. The strange thing was that before Tang San inherited Poseidon's god's power, this demon sword had made him feel an incomparable desire to hold it with his left hand. Now, that feeling had disappeared. "Brother, it seems to be looking for me." Xiao Wu's voice sounded beside Tang San. After completing the absorption of the soul ring, she had already opened her eyes and was staring straight at Shura's demon sword. Her eyes revealed a luster of desire. Under the illumination of the dark red light released by Shura's demon sword, a faint layer of dark red demonic patterns appeared on the surface of Xiao Wu's skin. "It's looking for you." Tang San turned his head to look at Xiao Wu. Suddenly, a thought came to his mind. Xiao Wu, Ning Rongrong, and Oscar had just reached the strength of a titled Dolu. She also had his own aura in her body. Could it be that after realizing that he couldn't inherit his power, the god of Shura sensed that Xiao Wu already possessed a considerable amount of power and his own aura, so he deliberately guided his evolved Shura's domain into Xiao Wu's body so that she could receive his power? If that was the case, it would be a good thing. Third brother, you're thinking too much. Shura's demon sword only chose Xiao Wu to become Shura's scabbard. However, Shura's scabbard's power is comparable to that of a second-rank god. Tang Yu said from the side. Scabbard? Then, who is the inheritor of Shura's power? Tang San asked. Guess for yourself. Tang Yu quickly answered. Tang San thought for a while and finally seemed to realize something. It can't be me, right? Tang San pointed at himself. What do you think? Tang Yu laughed. He then looked at the few people sitting cross-legged on the side. Today was really a great sale for God seeds. Chapter 169. It was a palace with golden glazed tiles that sparkled under the sunlight. The palace had a golden roof and a red door. This antique style made people feel a sense of solemnity. From afar, the foggy swamp and the tiles looked like they were carved out of a single brick. On top of the 5-meter-tall archway, there were the words Duke's Mansion. This huge mansion did not belong to any city. Instead, it was built 50 kilometers northwest of the capital of the Xianra Empire, Xingluo. From this, it could be seen that the owner of this mansion had a revered status in the Xianra Empire. The back door to the north side of the Duke's mansion quietly opened, and a small figure quietly slipped out. It was a 7 or 8-year-old boy. He had a golden ratio body and wore a simple blue outfit that looked clean. He carried a small bundle on his back. His short sky-blue hair looked clean and neat. His beautiful and handsome face showed a determination that surpassed his peers. Duke's Mansion. Just you wait. I'll come back one day. When I return, I will kill anyone who tries to stop me. Mother, please watch from the heavens. I will definitely avenge you. From now on, my name is not Yuhao. I will follow your surname and change it to Hua. My name is Yuhao. Yuhao's mother was the Duke's personal maidservant. She had grown up with the Duke. Personal maidservants existed to serve their masters. One night 12 years ago, Yuhao quietly appeared in his mother's womb. When Yuhao was born, the sky was covered with dark clouds. Lightning flashed, thunder rumbled, and rain poured down. It gave people a feeling of boundless grandeur. Therefore, his mother named him Yuhao. When Yuhao was born, there was a white jade mark on the back of his left hand. Everyone thought it was a birthmark. However, this mark only existed for 6 years before disappearing. It disappeared after Yuhao awakened his martial soul. Yuhao's martial soul wasn't a powerful martial soul that belonged to the Duke's bloodline. Instead, it was an extremely rare mutated spiritual-type body soul, spirit eyes. Under normal circumstances, Yuhao should have received a lot of attention. Unfortunately, there were 2 things that restricted his development. When his martial soul was awakened, his innate soul power was only at the 1st rank. It could be said that his talent was extremely poor, and his cultivation speed was extremely slow. The second point was even more fatal. Not only were spiritual-type martial souls rare, spiritual-type soul beasts were also extremely rare. Therefore, Yuhao wasn't taken seriously. However, there was one thing that Yuhao didn't tell everyone. His cultivation speed was extraordinarily fast, and his perception of any worldly aura around him was extremely high. In just a year's time, he had risen from level 1 to level 10. It could be seen that his cultivation speed was extremely fast. However, he didn't look for his own soul ring. Firstly, spiritual-type soul beasts were too rare. Secondly, Yuhao knew how to compress his cultivation. Thirdly, his mother's death had been a shock to him. A year ago, Yuhao's mother had been kicked by his second brother, Dai Huabin. Yuhao's mother was an ordinary person, so she naturally couldn't withstand Dai Huabin's kick. She died a few days later. Yuhao had cultivated crazily because of this shock. The Dolua continent was a world where the strong preyed on the weak. If you were weak, you would be eliminated. Only if you were strong could you survive in this world. 6 days later, outside the Great Star Do Forest, Huo Yuhao had finally arrived at his destination. This was the place with the most soul beasts, and also one of the 5 forbidden lands. It was said that there were many powerful soul beasts that were over 100,000 years old in the depths. One could tell just by looking at the signboard at the side. Soul beast habitat, do not approach. Huo Yuhao slowly read the words. Were soul beasts really that scary? Huo Yuhao thought to himself. He didn't know why, but he had an innate good impression of soul beasts. He didn't fear or dislike them at all. As he was walking forward, a strange feeling suddenly appeared in his mind. Huo Yuhao only felt a slight stabbing pain in his eyes. He subconsciously channeled his soul force into his spirit eyes. A black figure flashed past his previous position and pounced on the ground beside him. It was a baboon that was roughly 3 meters tall. Its entire body was covered in brownish-yellow fur, and its eyes were brown. Its arms were unusually long, and its claws had sharp nails. Its canine teeth were exposed from its mouth, and its eyes were filled with an ominous glint. After missing its attack, it immediately let out a low roar towards Huo Yuhao. Its powerful hind legs pushed off the ground, and it pounced towards Huo Yuhao once again. 1,000-year wind baboon. Huo Yuhao subconsciously spat out these words. Seeing that the wind baboon was about to charge over, Huo Yuhao took out a dagger. It was roughly 1 foot and 2 inches long, and its scabbard was dark green. It was made of tough leather. This was a gift from his father, whom he had never met, to his mother. Before his mother died, she gave this to Yuhao and said, "With this, your father will protect you forever." Protect me? If only it was that good. Huo Yuhao thought to himself. Although he had a good impression of soul beasts, if that soul beast really wanted to kill him, he couldn't just not fight back. However, that wind baboon was extremely fast. In that instant, it pressed Huo Yuhao to the ground before he could react. Crap! Huo Yuhao cursed inwardly. He had almost forgotten that this guy was a 1,000-year soul beast. It wasn't as easy to deal with as a 10-year soul beast. That baboon's sharp claws were about to tear Huo Yuhao to pieces. Huo Yuhao used his dagger to block the claws, but the baboon's strength was clearly greater than his. Yuhao closed his eyes in despair. I am going to die. No. I still haven't avenged my mother. I can't die. AI. You're really too weak right now. A clear and cold voice sounded. Who? Yuhao was greatly alarmed. To think that you and I, the most powerful existences among the 9 great dragon kings, would actually be beaten by a mere stinky monkey to the point where we can't even switch hands. Let me take control of your body first. Huo Yuhao's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened. They were icy blue vertical pupils. Icy blue scales began to grow on his body. A mere monkey actually dares to have designs on me? How dare you? An extremely cold aura erupted. Bang! A terrifying soul beast's aura was suddenly released. Whoosh! Yuhao flipped over and grabbed the wind baboon that had wanted to kill him. Stinky monkey, tell me, should I kill you? Or should I kill you? Or should I kill you? He said indifferently. That wind baboon was already unable to move under Yuhao's aura. It was truly regretful. Why did it attack him? If you don't say anything, I'll take it that you've chosen all of them. Yuhao said indifferently. If the wind baboon could speak, it would definitely say, what's the difference between choosing and not choosing? Yuhao began to crazily swing the wind baboon's huge body, smashing it here and there, then lifting it up and smashing it in another place. Just like that, it was reincarnated without end. One could even hear the wind baboon's anguished wails, after a long time. Bang! A corpse was thrown to the ground, and a purple ring slowly appeared. Yuhao looked at the purple soul ring and curled his lips in disdain. With a wave of his left hand, the purple 1,000-year soul ring dissipated. Ah! Who are you? Why did you erase it? I just happened to be lacking a soul ring. Why did you erase it? In the spiritual world, Yuhao shouted loudly. He even forgot to look at the beautiful scenery around him in the spiritual world. This kind of trash 100-year soul ring is not worthy of you. Even an ordinary 100,000-year soul ring is not worthy. Yuhao said indifferently. Soon after, he appeared in Yuhao's spiritual world. Yuhao was shocked. This person actually looked exactly like him. You? Who are you? Also, where is this place? Yuhao looked at the Yuhao, who looked exactly like him. My name is Han Tian. And you can say that I'm another soul of yours. As for this place, this is the world you created. Han Tian said indifferently. You're another soul of mine? The world I created? What kind of joke are you making? Yuhao cursed. I'm not joking. This is the world you created. Do you see those 12 spheres floating in the air? Han Tian pointed to the sky. Yuhao raised his head and saw 12 spheres of different sizes in the air. Furthermore, they were all of different colors. Among them, there were 2 that were the largest. One was so white that it couldn't be any whiter, and the other was gray. The rest were of different colors, so I won't write them down. Originally, there were 13 of them, and I was one of them. However, I was the first to wake up. It was precisely because I felt that you were in danger that I forcefully woke up to save you. They are all your companions and family. Han Tian said. This. Yuhao found it hard to believe. You have to believe it even if you don't believe it. Now, go out and properly increase your strength. Han Tian waved his hand. Yuhao took control of his body again. Just now, he looked at the wind baboon's corpse and buried it. Pitiful monkey. Wind baboon, howl. I'm a baboon, not a monkey. At this moment, whoa, brother has finally waited for you. 10,000 years, 10,000 years. You're finally here. An invisible barrier appeared in the sky, covering this area and isolating it from the outside world. The earth trembled and cracks began to appear. A large cocoon drilled out from the ground, a large golden cocoon. It was at least 10 meters large. What a big one! Yuhao was shocked. Following that, the large cocoon began to shatter and a large golden insect's wings rushed out from the cracks. There were golden patterns on its wings and a long tail. Following that was its head. It was a large head with 2 long antennae and large eyes. Following that was its body and legs. There were 10 golden patterns on its body, and it was covered in a layer of ice crystals. Its body was at least 20 meters long. Its wingspan could reach 50 meters. It was like a large golden moth. What kind of soul beast is this? What a terrifying aura! A baby moth? Yuhao found it hard to believe. Pei, you're the baby. Your whole family is a baby. That's not right, I'm also your family. Cough cough, listen, brother has been waiting for you for a long time. I'm the embodiment of heroes and chivalrous chivalry, the king of soul beast kings with both wisdom and beauty, the ancestor of all bugs, the most handsome and unparalleled million-year soul beast in history, the evolved form of the most handsome and invincible million-year soul beast in history, the skydream ice worm, the golden-winged heavenly silkworm moth. You can also call me Brother Skydream. Put on a cute expression, the giant golden moth said. A million years? Yuhao found it hard to believe. Then, Brother Skydream, why are you looking for me? Also, why did you say that you've been waiting for me for 10,000 years? Yuhao asked. Well, I've been looking for a suitable host. Today, I saw that you're glowing, so you must be a lucky person. Therefore, I want to become your soul ring. Brother Skydream was also blind. He couldn't say that he had been waiting for him for a long time, right? He couldn't say that they knew each other, right? Ah. Yuhao found it hard to believe. Skydream, what are you doing here? A girl's voice sounded. Skydream's expression suddenly changed. Yuhao felt that Skydream seemed to be afraid of something big. Big sister, why are you here? Don't you have to wait a few more years before you come out? A golden figure appeared in front of Yuhao. It was a 9-year-old girl with exceptional beauty. She was extremely beautiful, and in front of her, people who were devastatingly beautiful could only feel ashamed. She had long golden hair, golden eyes, and a vertical eye between her eyebrows. She had a perfect figure, and she wore bluish gold armor. Although she was still young, she had the aura of a queen. When Yuhao saw her, his heart trembled, as if he had seen her before. The golden-haired girl looked at the large moth, then looked at Yuhao. She was stunned when she saw him, and tears started to appear at the corners of her eyes. However, she resisted the urge to pounce on him, and then looked at Yuhao coldly. Human, what are you doing in the Great Star Dough Forest? This isn't a place you can come to. Yuhao didn't know what to say. Big sister, don't be so fierce. You'll scare this little kid. I plan to become his soul ring, so I can't stay here any longer. Anyway, I don't know how long I've been here. I have to go back first. Skydream looked at the golden-haired girl. The girl was silent for a moment. Up to you. You're not suited for battle anyway. Skydream blushed with shame. He turned around to look at Yuhao. Don't be afraid of her. She's a woman who's cold on the outside but warm on the inside. I'm not afraid of her, Yuhao said. Let's not talk about it anymore. Relax now. I'm going in, Go in? Yuhao was stunned. Whoosh. Its large head suddenly touched Yuhao's eyebrows. Golden light was released. Yuhao screamed. The golden-haired girl at the side clenched her hands tightly and closed her eyes. Her heart was in pain. At this moment, a thunderous boom resounded in the sky. In that instant, the light from the sun was completely covered by darkness. An enormous pressure that made it hard for people to breathe descended from the sky. A gray stream of air descended from the sky as if it had encountered an enormous suction force. In an instant, it landed on the back of Hua Yuhao's head and quietly entered. So that's how it is. The 9th fragment is in this era. Skydream and the golden-haired girl's voices sounded at the same time. The 9th trial of the life and death trial. Find the 9th fragment and complete it. Cultivate to the quasi-god realm, and you can inherit the godhood. A voice sounded. In Yuhao's spiritual world, the enormous gray sphere above his head started to shine and turned into a handsome man. This is the real me. Holding the sun and moon and plucking the stars, there's no one like me in this world. The land of great danger, This aura as expected. You won't die so easily, my friend. My lord. That undulation just now. Tion, don't be so surprised. That's my friend coming back. Ha 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 ha. When Yuhao woke up, he saw that he was lying in someone's embrace. It was actually that golden-haired girl. At this moment, she was hugging Yuhao as she leaned against a tree and fell asleep. Looking at her beautiful sleeping face and the trace of saliva at the corner of her mouth, Yuhao's face started to turn red as he looked at this beautiful girl up close. Furthermore, he didn't know why, but he really enjoyed her embrace. Her embrace was so warm. The girl's eyelids suddenly moved and then opened. She lazily rubbed her eyes and looked at Yuhao in her embrace. You're already awake? Yuhao nodded. Very good. Feel yourself, the girl said as she stood up. Yuhao felt his body and was immediately shocked. His soul power was many times stronger than before. He released his spirit eyes, and a golden soul ring appeared behind his back. A golden soul ring! Yuhao couldn't believe it. He could feel that he had 4 soul skills. Furthermore, Yuhao felt that behind his back, whoosh, a pair of wings spread open. The gorgeous golden wings were the Sky Dream Ice Moth's wings. This is the external soul Bone Brother bestowed to you, heavenly moth wings. You can fly, but how fast you can fly is up to you. You can also release a golden flash that can blind your opponents. Skydream's voice sounded so awesome. Thank you, Brother Skydream. However, all of this doesn't matter. From today onwards, you're my family. I'm so happy. I have a family. Yuhao didn't know why, but he wasn't excited at all about the soul ring and soul bone. Instead, he felt extremely excited when Skydream appeared in his spiritual world. There was no reply. Don't you have a family? The golden-haired girl looked at Yuhao. He felt a little uncomfortable. In the past, I had my mother to accompany me. I also had a father that I've never seen before. However, my mother has passed away, and my father hasn't returned. Yuhao lowered his head. The golden-haired girl looked at him and slowly walked over. She hugged him tightly. If you want to cry, then cry. It's very uncomfortable to hold it in. If you don't mind, from today onwards, I'll be your elder sister. Yuhao was stunned. His entire body trembled, and his eyes started to moisten. After that, he couldn't hold it in anymore. Sis. Elder sister. Whoa. What? Not long after, Yuhao fell asleep again. However, he was smiling as he fell asleep. Yuhao, from today onwards, you won't be alone anymore. We're back. The golden-haired girl cried. Chapter 170. Fighting is a good thing, but I don't like it when my students fight each other. Remember, fight someone from another class the next time you fight. Shrek Academy's rules have always been lax, so that we can develop the individuality of our students. We've always turned a blind eye to things like fighting. However, there are certain restrictions, which I'll explain to you. Senior students aren't allowed to provoke or attack junior students, and they'll be expelled if they're discovered. However, junior students can challenge senior students, but a teacher has to be present to bear witness, and it's not a case of senior students bullying others. As for those of the same grade, you can fight as you wish. As long as no one dies, the academy won't interfere. Fighting is one of the best ways to improve one's abilities. If you can advance to Year 2 in the future, you can compete in the soul dueling area. If you win a lot, the academy will even reward you. However, for now, you can go for a run. Tang Dong was just about to speak, but Yuhao had already pulled him away. Although Tang Dong was depressed, he still ran out with him. Why are you pulling me away? This teacher Zhou is simply a crazy woman. Yuhao snapped. Do you think you can outtalk her? Do you think you can beat her? If you can't, then you can only do as she says. Hurry up and run. I believe that she wasn't lying when she said that you'll be expelled if you don't finish 100 laps. When it came to running, the two of them were actually on par. They had even surpassed those who were running at the front. On this field, it was as if two gusts of wind were flashing past. Everyone stared at these two monsters in disbelief. Why did it feel like this field had become their home ground? The two of them kept running until the last 5 laps. Tang Dong suddenly shouted at Zhou Yi, who wasn't far away, "Teacher, can I use my martial soul?" "Yes," Zhou Yi replied. Tang Dong's lips curled upwards. "It's good that you can." Boom. A terrifying aura emanated from his body, and a pair of dazzling platinum-colored dragon wings unfurled behind his back. Some parts of his body were also covered in platinum-colored scales. 2 black soul rings appeared in the air. That's right. They were black soul rings. He was surrounded by many light elementals. Everyone stared at Tang Dong in disbelief. Is this guy a monster? He actually has 2 black soul rings. How did he withstand the backlash? Furthermore, they didn't recognize his martial soul. Zhou Yi stared at Tang Dong in disbelief. This martial spirit, could it be? It was said that 10,000 years ago, Destiny Doloa Tang Yu had traveled the entire Doloa continent, and even went to places outside the Doloa continent. During his travels, he wrote a book called Dolua's Virtue, which recorded a lot of things. In the book, he said, "The world we live in is round, and it's called a planet. I named the planet we live in 13 Dolua. The stars we see in the sky at night are also planets. There must be countless planets outside of 13 Dolua, and there must be other creatures living on those planets." Everyone in the upper echelon of Shrek believed his words. The book also recorded some things about the cultivation of martial souls, classification, and quality. There were also many things about soul beasts. Among the many soul beasts, there was a soul beast called the White Dragon. They could also be called the Radiant Dragon, and the so-called Radiant Holy Dragon was only a branch of them. The White Dragon was a race led by one of the 9 great dragon kings, the White Dragon King. They possessed powerful light elements and flying speed. Joey hadn't read that book before. After all, it was sealed underground in Shrek's library, and was treated like a treasure. Only those who had been personally reviewed by the Pavilion Master of Poseidon's Pavilion could read that ancient book. However, she had heard the upper echelon talk about the 9 great dragon kings, and she had also heard about them. Tang Dong's martial soul was actually very similar to the white dragon described in the book. This was simply unbelievable. At the entrance of the dormitory, the old man suddenly opened his eyes. What a frightening dragon's aura! It actually made my martial soul a little fearful. That's the royal bloodline of the White Dragon clan. The White Dragon King. Haha. I'll make a move first. Tang Dong smiled at Yuhao and flapped his wings. Whoosh! The sound of something breaking through the air. Only a light figure could be seen. Yuhao smiled. Whoosh! A pair of wings suddenly spread out from his back. However, they weren't dragon wings, but rather the wings of a moth. The only difference was that they were golden. Everyone was astonished once again. Was this a martial soul? But it didn't have a soul ring. This is a soul bone? An external soul bone? Zhou-Yi was astonished. He flapped his golden wings, and caught up to Tang Dong in less than a breath. You. Tang Dong was astonished. I'm sorry. I've caught up to you. Let me tell you, the golden-winged heavenly silkworm moth's speed is limitless. It's the fastest investigator in the insect race. Even in the entire beast world, only Xian and a few other beasts with limitless speed can match it. Bye-bye. Yuhao smiled, and overtook Tang Dong in an instant. Damn it. Don't go. I'll chase after you. Tang Dong shouted. He turned into a streak of light and chased after Yuhao. However, he couldn't catch up to him no matter how hard he tried. Not long after, both of their soul power was almost used up, and they collapsed to the ground, exhausted. They didn't even know how many rounds they had flown. Tang Dong wanted to catch up to Yuhao, while Yuhao wanted to avoid being caught by Tang Dong. Huff 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 huff. You're really relentless. Yuhao panted as he lay on the ground. I just don't want to lose to you. Huff huff huff. Tang Dong was also panting non-stop. Yuhao was the first to get up, and he extended his left hand towards Tang Dong. Tang Dong was stunned for a moment, then he smiled and extended his right hand. Both of them were stunned when they clasped hands. Tang Dong looked at his right hand, and a black Magatama imprint suddenly appeared. Yuhao also felt the white Magatama imprint on his left hand. Fortunately, his left hand was bandaged, and nobody could see it. However, Tang Dong had a strange feeling. You. Both of them opened their mouths at the same time, but they didn't know what to say. 15 minutes later, Zhou-Yi arrived at the classroom on time. When she saw that all 91 students had arrived, she nodded and said, "We'll begin class now. I'm satisfied with the test just now. Most of you have completed the simple running test. Yuhao, stand up." Teacher Zhou. Yuhao quickly stood up, and his back was ramrod straight. Zhou-Yi said coldly, Report your soul power rank. Yes, my soul power is at the peak of rank 25. Yuhao said respectfully. Everyone looked at Yuhao in shock. Yuhao was only 11 years old, but his soul power was already at the peak of rank 25? His talent must be very high. Tang Dong was sprawled on the table. His soul power was several ranks higher than Yuhao's. He had actually lost to Yuhao. He felt so embarrassed. Not bad. You didn't lie. You're a specially invited student of the academy, and you don't have to pass any tests when you enter the academy. However, this is the only exception that can be made for specially invited students. If you can't complete the learning tasks assigned by the academy, you'll still be eliminated. Alright, Yuhao, sit down. Thank you, teacher. Yuhao sat down again. Following this, she talked about the different types of martial souls and soul tools, but she didn't write about them in detail. This morning's class will end here. I suggest that you have a good meal at noon, and we'll begin training your bodies in the afternoon. Class dismissed. Yuhao, come with me to my office. Zhou Yi's office. Yuhao, I don't like to talk nonsense. Tang Dong's martial soul surprised me, but I'm very curious about yours. Even with my experience, I can't tell what your martial soul is. I want to know the answer now. Zhou Yi's strength was evident in her words. Yuhao said, My martial soul is the spirit eyes, and it's a spiritual type martial soul. Zhou Yi was clearly shocked, and a trace of surprise flashed through her bright eyes. Body soul, spiritual type? Eyes? Yuhao nodded. Zhou Yi closed her eyes slightly, as if she was thinking about something. After a moment, she asked Yuhao, Can you tell me what your first and second soul skills are? It was normal for a teacher to ask about a student's martial soul, but soul skills were the most important abilities and secrets of every soul master. Even with Zhou Yi's strength, she still used an inquisitive tone. Yuhao didn't directly answer Zhou Yi's question. Instead, his first and second soul rings slowly rose from beneath Yuhao's feet. As his first soul ring lit up, his eyes were covered with a layer of pale gold. Immediately afterwards, Zhou Yi felt a spiritual undulation appear in front of her eyes. Zhou Yi's pupils instantly dilated when she accepted it. Spiritual detection sharing appeared accurately in Zhou Yi's vision, and everything around her became different. The clear texture made her feel as if she'd walked out of a dense fog. Everything became clear and orderly, and could be described with data. It was as if a second brain had appeared in her mind, and her accurate judgment changed along with her line of sight. After about a minute, Yuhao retracted his skill and stood obediently in front of Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi was stunned for a moment, then muttered, What a mysterious skill! No wonder the Tang men chose you as a specially invited student. What about your second soul ring? Yuhao smiled, then disappeared from where he was. Invisibility? Zhou Yi was startled. After that, a person appeared in front of her. Zhou Yi was astonished. It was actually herself. There were actually 6 soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 2 black soul rings. The Soul Emperor's aura was also very realistic. Zhou Yi didn't know what to say. After that herself turned into Tang Dong, and her soul rings instantly turned into 2 black colors. After that, they turned into Bei Bei's soul rings, which turned into 2 yellow and 1 purple. After that, they turned back into Tang Ya's soul rings, which were still 2 yellow and 1 purple. After that, they turned back into Yuhao. After that, Yuhao pulled out 3 strands of hair and waved them around. The 3 strands of hair instantly turned into an exact copy of himself. After that, they turned into Zhou Yi, Tang Dong, Tang Ya, and Bei Bei. After that, they actually turned into a wind baboon, a mandala snake, and a small bear. After that, they turned into a sword, a halberd, and finally 3 strands of blue hair that fell to the ground. Zhou Yi was already stunned. Is this really a soul skill? How can 2 10-year soul rings have such a powerful soul skill? After that, she seemed to understand something. The colors of your soul rings aren't real, right? She looked at Yuhao and asked. Yuhao was stunned for a moment. After that, he nodded. I understand. You don't have to use your real colors. You're extremely outstanding. Not only do you have such a powerful divine skill, but you also have an external soul ring. You're really powerful. Yuhao wasn't surprised that she knew about his external soul bone. If she didn't know, she wouldn't be fit to be a teacher. Yuhao, come with me. As she spoke, Zhou quickly stood up and led Yuhao out of the office. At this moment, Yuhao was completely confused. He could feel that Zhou Yi's emotions had fluctuated greatly after she found out about his martial soul and soul skill. However, he didn't know whether this was good or bad. He also didn't know what Zhou Yi wanted to do with him. Soul Tool Testing Area, Fan Yu! Zhou Yi shouted. Immediately, a group of people at the side of the arena looked in her direction. One of them, a tall middle-aged man, furrowed his brows and walked towards them with large strides. Zhou Yi, why are you here? Evidently, this middle-aged man was the Fan Yu that Zhou Yi had called out to. Do you still remember what you said to me last time? Zhou Yi seemed somewhat excited as she spoke. A helpless smile appeared on Fan Yu's face as he said, I've said too much to you. How do I know what you're talking about? If there's nothing else, you can go back first. I still have a few experiments to do here. She said amiably. I'm talking about what you mentioned last time, about spiritual-type soul masters using soul tools. After hearing her words, Fan Yu's eyes couldn't help but light up. His gaze subconsciously landed on Yuhao. He has a spiritual-type martial soul? Zhou Yi nodded and said, That's right. His name is Yuhao, and he's a new student this year. His body soul is the spirit eyes, and he's a spiritual-type martial soul. Fan Yu looked at Yuhao and said, Can he really do it? Zhou Yi snorted and said, Are you looking down on my eyesight? That's right, Yuhao's strength is still weak. However, his soul skill isn't ordinary, it's the most practical spiritual-type skill I've ever seen. Yuhao, let him feel it. Yuhao released his spiritual detection sharing. However, when his spiritual detection sharing landed on the middle-aged man's body, the middle-aged man furrowed his brows slightly. In that instant, Yuhao felt as if a huge beast had suddenly opened its mouth in front of him. However, Yuhao was still as indifferent as ever. That huge beast was instantly obliterated by an unknown strength. His spiritual detection sharing had been successfully established. Fan Yu was startled. Not only was he startled by the soul skill, he was also startled by the fact that this child had been so calm when he'd suffered a backlash from his soul skill. Just how strong was his spiritual power and mental state to be able to do this? There's actually such a spiritual-type skill? What's going on? A soul skill from a 10-year soul beast? Fan Yu looked at the two white soul rings around Yuhao's body with a puzzled expression. Other than puzzlement, he was also pleasantly surprised. Yuhao once again displayed his second soul skill. Fan Yu was shocked. There's actually such a powerful soul skill. He roughly knew that the colors of these two soul rings weren't real. He wanted to ask Yuhao what the colors of his soul rings were, but he didn't. He knew that even if he asked, Yuhao wouldn't let him see the true colors of his soul rings. Kaitu, come here. Fan Yu waved towards the group of people not far away. Immediately, one of the youths ran over with quick step. When he saw this youth, Yuhao was actually a little happy. He even wanted to cry, but he still held it in. Why do I always feel like crying after coming to Shrek Academy? That youth should be about the same age as Bei, but he was extremely tall. He was over 2 meters tall, and his shoulders were even wider than Fan Yu's. His upper body revealed dark muscles, and his head was completely bald. Compared to ordinary people, he was much darker. He had a simple and honest appearance. Teacher. The youth respectfully bowed towards Fan Yu. Fan Yu pointed at Yuhao and said, Test fire a shot from your stationary soul cannon. Let him help you hit a moving target. Yes. The muscular youth didn't ask anything. He gave Yuhao a simple and honest smile and said, "Hello little sister, I'm Kaitu. Everyone calls me Kaitu. You can call me that too." The muscular youth gave a simple and honest smile. Yuhao also smiled and said, "Hello big brother I'm Yuhao. Also, big brother I'm a boy." If it were anyone else, he would definitely be angry. However, he couldn't get angry at this youth. When he heard him call him big brother Kaitu was stunned for a moment. When he heard the last sentence, he immediately became embarrassed and said, "I'm really sorry. Little brother, I actually didn't know you were a boy." "It's fine, big brother I don't mind. You can just call me Yuhao in the future." Yuhao. Even the historians of the future didn't know that the friendship between the god of emotions, Yuhao, and the weapon god, Kaitu, had actually started with a few simple sentences. With Yuhao's help, Kaitu successfully hit a moving target. "Oh yeah, we hit it." The two of them clapped their hands and spoke at the same time. Fan Yu and Zhou Yi also walked over. He was very satisfied with Yuhao's performance. He asked Yuhao, "How big is the range of your spiritual detection?" Yuhao replied, "It's currently about 200 meters in diameter. It can reach 300 meters in a single direction. My spiritual detection sharing can increase its range as my soul force increases." "Soul skills can evolve? That's incredible," Fan Yu said in astonishment. He thought for a moment, then looked at Yuhao. "Yuhao, do you want to learn how to use soul tools from me?" Can I? Yuhao couldn't quite react. "You just have to answer if you're willing or not," Fan Yu said. "I'm willing," Yuhao immediately said. He didn't know why, but he'd always been very passionate about soul tools, just like how he was passionate about soul beasts. In fact, he was even more passionate about soul beasts. "Good. Yuhao, from today onwards, you're a core disciple of my soul tool department." Chapter 171. This. "Yuhao, did you really make this?" Fan Yu looked at the soul power tester in his hand in disbelief. Kaitu also looked at Yuhao in disbelief. "Teacher Fan, senior brother I really did make this," Yuhao said with a smile, his hands behind his back. His smile was very beautiful and cute. Kaitu felt that Yuhao was very adorable right now. However, Kaitu still swallowed his saliva. "Little junior brother, did you know? This thing that you've created is a Class 4 soul tool." "Oh," Yuhao replied in a daze. "Oh." The two of them were stunned. "Little junior brother, do you know that the fact that you can make a Class 4 soul tool means that you're already a Class 4 soul engineer? There isn't an 11-year-old Class 4 soul engineer in the entire continent of Dolu. You're really..." Kaitu didn't know what to say. Yuhao still had a dazed look on his face. He felt that he could even make a Class 6 soul tool without a problem. Should he tell them? Forget it, it's better not to tell them. I'm afraid they'll be scared to death. 3 hours ago, after Yuhao had become Fan Yu's disciple, Fan Yu had explained some knowledge about soul tools to him. After that, Yuhao had actually suggested that he wanted to make a soul tool. After that, Yuhao had actually chosen the blueprint for a Class 4 soul power tester and started to make it. Fan Yu and Kaitu didn't disturb him. They believed that Yuhao would definitely fail. After all, he was only rank 20. He actually wanted to make a Class 4 soul tool that was beyond his rank. This was clearly impossible. However, they were completely stunned when Yuhao came to find them 3 hours later with a smile on his face as he held a completed soul tool in his hands. "Yuhao, I have to say that your talent in soul tools is simply too shocking. Even the #1 soul engineering genius in the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy isn't as good as you. However, It's fortunate that you're in our Shrek Academy. You're a freakish soul engineer. Fan Yu sighed. After awarding Yuhao a Class 4 Soul Tool Medal, it was time for dinner, so they let Yuhao go back. Yuhao put away his medal and left after bidding farewell to the two of them. On the way, Yuhao even tested his soul power. He had actually broken through to rank 24. Just as Yuhao was walking towards the cafeteria, a figure ran out. It was Tangya. With a mysterious smile on her face, Tangya pulled Yuhao to the side and whispered, "Light Rain Hao, I heard that you're almost out of money, right?" Yuhao nodded. "Yeah. Recently I've been too hungry, so I've been eating the most delicious food, but I can't stop eating all of a sudden. I've been eating too much, and I'm almost out of money." Tangya giggled and said, "You're a disciple of the Tangmen. As a teacher, I have to take care of you. I've thought of a way for you. I know the auntie in charge of purchasing food from the cafeteria. In the future, I'll get her to bring in 20 more fish for you every day. After that, I'll order a grill and some charcoal for you outside. I've also prepared some seasonings. After school, you can sell your grilled fish at the entrance of the academy. With your skills, you'll definitely be able to sell them for a good price. The cost of our fish is about 1 copper coin. After you're done, it won't be a problem to sell them for 5 copper coins. This way, won't you have money?" Yuhao's eyes lit up. "Teacher Xiaoye, that's a great idea. However, Teacher Xiaoye, your real motive isn't because you want to eat it, right?" After hearing Yuhao's last words, Tangya immediately became embarrassed. Indeed, Yuhao's grilled fish was too delicious. Yuhao laughed softly. He had guessed correctly. "All right, Sect Master, I'm giving you an idea, and you're laughing at me? Do you agree or not?" "All right, I agree." What Yuhao didn't know was that his grilled fish would have a terrifying influence 10,000 years later. Yuhao's grilled fish restaurant had actually spread throughout the entire Dolua continent. This was especially true for the continent's largest and most luxurious restaurant, the Hua clan's Yuhao restaurant. After the afternoon's physical training, Yuhao was chosen as the class monitor by Zhou Yi. This was because he'd led everyone to complete the exam, and no one had been expelled. Everyone was overjoyed, and no one had any complaints about Yuhao being the class monitor. Furthermore, he'd received everyone's support, and had even been called a role model. This made Yuhao think of a saying, "Those who win the hearts of the people win the world." Wait, this might be a little too much. It's only the position of class monitor, but it's more or less the same. After Yuhao finished showering, a voice startled him. Yuhao! It was Teacher Xiaoye. He hurriedly shouted from the corridor, "Teacher Xiaoye, I'll be right out." After that, he quickly rushed back to the dormitory, intending to change into a new uniform before leaving. Because he was anxious, he didn't even bother to knock on the door when he returned to the dormitory. He pushed the door open and entered, and was stunned when he entered. His shoulders weren't wide, but they were round and curved downwards, outlining a gentle curve around his waist. They only bulged up when they reached his butt, and his thighs, which were longer than normal people's, were straight and slender. Because of his age, everything wasn't exaggerated. However, his fair skin, which still had water droplets flowing down it, was sparkling and translucent. The visual impact was simply, "Ah!" A somewhat sharp cry rang out. Immediately afterwards, the white in front of Yuhao's eyes turned into a dazzling platinum gold color. A pair of enormous platinum gold dragon wings suddenly spread open. "What are you doing? Why didn't you knock?" Tang Dong's furious voice rang out. The blue light retracted, and when Yuhao looked again, he had already put on his uniform and rushed over. However, he didn't attack Yuhao in the end. This was because Yuhao, who had just washed his body, was only wearing his underwear at this moment. His entire body was clean and smooth. Yuhao's skin was especially snow-white. It didn't look like a boy's skin at all. There was still a lingering fragrance of shower gel on his body. It was actually the fragrance of roses. Did you use my rose shower gel? Tang Dong asked angrily. Sorry, I'm busy right now. Yuhao gave him a curt reply before he took his clothes and left. Tang Dong stood there in a daze, and didn't stop him. He only regained his senses after Yuhao closed the door and ran away. His face alternated between red and white, and he didn't know what to say. After much difficulty, he spat out, "You pervert! Little brother, how much are you selling this grilled fish for?" "Senior, it's 5 copper coins for one grilled fish. It smells good. Give me one to try." "Okay." "Wow. It's so delicious. I want one more." "Is it really that delicious?" "I want one too." "Wow. Delicious. I want one. I want 2. I want 5. Don't push. Hey. Don't cut the line. You're the ones cutting the line, aren't you?" Yuhao didn't think that his grilled fish business would be so good. He apologized to the students around the grill. "Seniors, today is my first time doing business. I can only sell 18 grilled fish. I've already sold 4, so there are still 14 left. According to the principle of first come, first served, seniors who aren't in line, please come back tomorrow." Every student who received a grilled fish was extremely satisfied. There were even people who wanted to pre-order tomorrow's grilled fish. Yuhao weighed the pros and cons and decided to wait in line. After all, the grilled fish tasted the best when it was fresh out of the oven. If someone came late, the taste would be worse. At this moment, several female students wearing purple uniforms walked out of Shrek Academy's main gate. The female student walking at the front attracted countless gazes as soon as she appeared. She looked to be only 14 or 15 years old. Her figure was slender and well-proportioned. Her long golden hair was scattered behind her head in large waves. Her skin was whiter than snow, and her eyes were like clear water. When she looked around, she had an elegant and noble temperament. Her complexion was like jade, like a crescent moon, like a pile of snow on a flowering tree. Her gentle and charming manner was charming in her words. Her beauty was indescribable. That devastatingly beautiful appearance seemed to cause all the colors in the surroundings to dim. "Big Sister Nan, it smells so good." "What's that smell?" Another female student beside the beautiful girl asked her in surprise. Her appearance was also not bad. Unfortunately, how could a firefly beside the bright moon shine? The beautiful girl had obviously smelled the fragrance as well. The other girls couldn't help but cast their gazes towards Yuhao's stall. The students who had originally surrounded Yuhao's stall actually opened up a path for her and the other female students to walk in front of the grill. The beautiful girl wasn't arrogant. She wore a gentle smile on her face as she nodded her head in greeting to the students who had opened up a path for her. All the students who saw her smile flushed red with excitement. Yuhao was also stunned when he saw the beautiful girl's appearance. However, he wasn't attracted by her appearance. Instead, it was the feeling that made him want to cry again. The girl also looked at Yuhao. It had to be said that Yuhao's face had been charred black, and his original beauty had disappeared. However, she could still see that he was very handsome. "Junior brother, how much are you selling your grilled fish for?" the beautiful girl asked softly. "Senior sister, 5 copper soul coins each," Yuhao said. Just as he was about to say that he wasn't selling today, the beautiful girl said, "It's a little expensive. Considering the cost and your processing, 3 copper soul coins should be enough. You can still make a profit." Yuhao was stunned. "You're actually poorer than me. You're still bargaining?" "I'm sorry. My grilled fish are non-negotiable. Furthermore, I've already sold out today," Yuhao said calmly. Tanya had set the price, and he wouldn't change it easily. Furthermore, this income was very important to him, so it was just right. The beautiful girl was stunned for a moment, then said apologetically, "I'm sorry. I just made a rough calculation. If there's a chance in the future, I'll try it again." With that, she turned around and walked out. Yuhao clearly felt that the atmosphere around him was a little strange. Many of the students who had been looking at him with fervent expressions were now glaring at him. What's going on? Brat, you dare not sell? A low and deep voice that was filled with anger suddenly rang out. Immediately afterwards, a golden light shot towards Yuhao's stall. A gold soul coin. With Yuhao's eyesight, he could just see it. Ding! The golden light accurately hit the grill, and actually embedded itself in it. It really was a gold soul coin. Immediately afterwards, a figure walked over with large strides, quickly passing by the beautiful girl and arriving in front of Yuhao's stall. He raised his hand and grabbed the 2 grilled fish on the grill. That figure was fast, but Yuhao was even faster. He grabbed the last 2 grilled fish. That person's large hand didn't grab the grilled fish, but instead grabbed a few pieces of charcoal in the grill. At this moment, Yuhao was finally able to clearly see the appearance of that person. He was immediately stunned. This person was wearing a black uniform and was actually a 6th-year student. He looked to be about the same age as Bei. He was tall, 1.9 meters tall, with thick eyebrows, tiger-like eyes, a straight nose, and a square mouth. He had a dignified appearance. His fair skin was flushed red due to his anger, and his handsome face had a threatening aura to it. Yuhao's sorrowful feelings appeared in his heart once again, but he suppressed them. He looked indifferently at the person in front of him. He was a soul elder. Furthermore, he was a soul elder who was close to becoming a soul ancestor. Brat, you're courting death! The black-clothed youth shouted angrily. He actually crushed the charcoal in his hand, causing sparks to fly in all directions. However, he didn't seem to have suffered any burning sensation. With a sweep of his right leg, Yuhao's grill was kicked to the side. At the same time, he took a step forward and grabbed at Yuhao's chest with his large hand. However, he grabbed empty air. Yuhao had actually disappeared into thin air, and reappeared behind that person. Senior, you kicked over my grill, destroyed my charcoal, and scared me, the owner of this stall. Let's sum it up. You have to pay me 400 gold soul coins for a grill. As for the charcoal, you have to pay me 100 gold soul coins. In addition to that, you have to pay me 1,500 gold soul coins for psychological damage. At some point, a calculator had appeared in Yuhao's hand. Don't ask me where I got it from. He spoke indifferently as he calculated. Ha ha ha. How's profiteering nature has exploded. Stinking brat, you dodged pretty quickly. Also, why do I have to pay you so many gold soul coins? The black-clothed youth said furiously. I'm the owner of this stall, and I make the decisions here. If I tell you to pay, you have to pay. What can you do to me? Yuhao said. You don't look like you've been scared by me. The youth shouted. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Yuhao suddenly pretended to be afraid. After that, his expression turned calm as he said, All right, I'm already afraid. Now, you can compensate me for my mental trauma. Silence. Everyone present was stunned as they stared at Yuhao. This stall owner is so funny. Are you King kidding me? The black-clothed youth flew into a rage, and charged directly at Yuhao. The black-clothed youth pounced over, and threw a punch at Yuhao. Yuhao only stretched out his right hand. Just as he was about to catch the youth's right hand, Yuhao's right hand turned around and grabbed the youth's wrist. He pulled forward, and the black-clothed youth staggered. Yuhao then stretched out his right leg and tripped him, causing him to fall flat on his face. Pfft! Everyone held back their laughter. The golden-haired girl also wanted to laugh, but didn't dare to. At the same time, she and the people around her were very shocked. Yuhao actually made him suffer? He was, brat, let's do it again. The black-clothed youth got up again, and was about to pounce at Yuhao. At this moment, two voices sounded at almost the same time. What are you doing? Stop! The one who spoke was the golden-haired girl. At this moment, her face was filled with anger, while the other had already rushed over like lightning. His palm went straight for the black-clothed youth. The black-clothed youth hurriedly blocked with his right hand and collided with the incoming palm. Both of their bodies shook at the same time, and they both took a step back. Neither of them had the upper hand. The one who came was none other than the eldest disciple of the Tangmen, Bei. A beautiful figure appeared beside Yuhao. It was the Tongmen's sect leader, Tangya. "Yuhao, are you all right?" she asked with concern. "I'm fine, but that senior is not. Just now, he kicked over the grill and charcoal that teacher Xiaoya gave me." Yuhao smiled as he pointed at the black-clothed youth. He even passed the grilled fish to Tangya. "Damn! This brat is actually snitching." "Wait, that brat is actually your junior disciple?" The black-clothed youth looked at Yuhao, then looked at Bei in front of him. "So what if he is?" Bei said indifferently. "Su Sancher, you dare to bully my people and kick over my things? I'm going to fight you to the death!" Tangya shouted loudly. She raised her right hand, and a golden light flew straight towards Su Sancher. The black-clothed youth waved his right hand, and a sharp black light appeared. It was about to sweep away the golden light, but a shocking scene occurred. The golden light suddenly flashed, and actually drilled into the black-clothed youth's body through the dense black soul force, disappearing without a trace. The black-clothed youth's body trembled violently, and his eyes suddenly froze. His tiger-like eyes shone with anger, and 3 soul rings instantly rose from beneath his feet. 2 of them were yellow and 1 was purple. His originally white skin immediately darkened, and his muscles swelled. His entire body swelled, and the most peculiar thing was that a black tortoiseshell shield with a diameter of about 1.5 meters appeared in his right hand. "Tangya, don't think that I can't do anything to you just because Bei is protecting you." The black-clothed youth growled, and his eyes spat fire. Tangya laughed coldly. "Come, do you think I'm afraid of you?" Bei said indifferently. "Su Sancher, you bullied my junior disciple. You have to give me an explanation for today's matter. Otherwise, we'll go to the soul dueling area and fight it out." Su Sancher said, "If he doesn't give Jiang Nan an face, then he doesn't give me any face. It's just 2 grilled fish, and I've already paid for them. Furthermore, you saw it yourself. Am I the one bullying him, or is he the one bullying me?" Tangya said, "Su Sancher, Yuhao left these 2 grilled fish for me. Bei, why are you still talking nonsense with him? Beat him up. Hurry up and beat him up. Beat him up until he can't take care of himself, and I'll let you kiss me." Bei's face was originally tense, but after hearing Tangya's words, this little demonist's desire to see the world in chaos, his facial muscles immediately twitched. Su Sancher curled his lips and said to Bei, "Your Xiaoya is still so out of line. I haven't sparred with you in a long time. Isn't it just going to the soul dueling area? Let's go." In the end, Yuhao's cheating allowed Bei to successfully defeat Su Sancher and cheat him of 100 gold soul coins and 2 mysterious water pills. Chapter 172. On the second night, in the small forest, Yuhao and Tang Dong were hugging each other with their eyes closed. Strange soul power undulations emanated from their bodies. Everything within 10 meters of them lit up. A special radiance was released from their bodies. The radiance was very strange. It was a strange radiance that alternated between blue, purple, and platinum. It was mainly made up of a dense aura of light, mixed with many other strange soul power undulations. A huge projection appeared behind Tang Dong. It had huge platinum wings and a huge dragon head. Its entire body was covered in illusory platinum dragon scales. A huge projection of a vertical eye appeared behind Yuhao. This vertical eye was pale gold in color, but its pupil exuded a faint purplish gold color. The 2 martial souls suddenly fused together. The projection of the white dragon king fused into the vertical eye. The huge vertical eye looked very deep. If one looked carefully, it seemed as if there was a boundless world within it. In the next instant, a terrifying beam of blue, purple, and gold light shot out. This beam of light was like a huge pillar of light. It exuded blue, purple, and gold light. At this moment, the pillar of light was like a fan. It suddenly opened to both sides and formed the shape of a fan. All the vegetation around it turned into nothingness. All that was left was a blurred distortion and dazzling colors. It also left a 120 degrees fan-shaped golden path that spanned 80 meters. The two of them were still hugging each other. They fell straight to the ground on the second day. This is our doing? I think so. It's too powerful. Let's quickly come up with a name. Alright. I wanted to call it the Golden Road amidst withering resplendence. But it doesn't seem like a road now. It's more like a path. Let's call it the Golden Path of Dawn. It's a sublimated version of the Golden Road. This is our martial soul fusion skill. The Golden Path of Dawn, it's a good name. Alright, Yuhao, what time is it now? We seem to have overslept again. It's time for cake. Two loud roars. Outside the assessment area. Where did the two of you go? Just wait for old Lady Zhou to teach you a lesson after today's competition. Look at her gaze, it's as sharp as a knife. If looks could kill, the two of you would have died 1,000 times over. Xiao Xiao said snappily. Tang Dong had a gloomy look on his face as he said, Stop grumbling. It's all Hui Yuhao's fault. If he hadn't insisted on bringing me out to spar, would we have been late? The two of them had already thought of an excuse on the way here. After all, they didn't want to expose their martial soul fusion skill. Alright, the competition is about to begin. Let's hurry up and start the match, Hui Yuhao said. Alright, this time, the test was completed in 10 minutes. The three of them successfully entered the top 32. However, when Hui Yuhao and the other two walked out of the assessment area, the joy of their victory instantly vanished. Because at the entrance of the assessment area, the gloomy old Madame Zhou was waiting there. Xiao Xiao, go back and rest first. The two of you follow me. After Zhou Yi finished speaking, she snorted coldly, turned around and left. The two of them trembled. It seemed like they had to tell their teacher that they knew a martial soul fusion skill. After that, Hui Yuhao brought up his and Tang Dong's martial soul fusion skill and successfully shut Zhou Yi's mouth. Zhou Yi was extremely shocked. When she saw their soul power fuse with her own eyes, she found it inconceivable. She went to look for Wang Yan, who also found it inconceivable. After that, Zhou Yi forgave the two of them. The freshman assessment knockout competition, the competition to advance from 32 to 16, officially began in the assessment area when the afternoon bell rang. On the stage, this time, Hui Yuhao and the other two's opponents were three young girls. They're very strong. One of them is a soul elder. Hui Yuhao's voice rang out in Tang Dong and Xiao Zhao's minds. Their expressions instantly turned serious. Generally speaking, the gap between a soul elder and a soul grandmaster was extremely large. This was unless the soul grandmaster had a better combination of soul rings than the soul elder, or if the soul grandmaster had a soul bone, or if there was a difference in the quality of their martial souls. Otherwise, a soul elder would normally be able to suppress a soul grandmaster. The three young girls in front of them were very beautiful, and they were also wearing the freshman uniform. The little girl standing at the very front was rather tall. She was even slightly taller than Hui Yuhao and Wang Dong. She had short, golden hair, which made her look extremely neat. She had long eyelashes in her large, aqua-blue eyes, and a few small, delicate freckles on her cheek. Behind her, the girl on the left had short, fiery red hair, and her eyes were a rare red color. At first glance, she seemed somewhat terrifying. However, if one looked carefully, they would discover that her facial features were extremely exquisite, and her skin was as white as jade. However, Her gaze was very cold, comparable to old Madame Zhou's. The girl on the right was a stark contrast to the girl on the left. Her long, light green hair was draped behind her, and her dark green eyes were filled with gentleness. The feeling of softness and weakness that she gave off made one unconsciously feel a sense of pity for her. They were also sizing up Yuhao and the other two, but Xiao Xiao was directly ignored. Their gazes constantly lingered on Yuhao and Tang Dong, because one of them was simply too handsome, while the other was both handsome and beautiful. In the end, the three of them stopped their gazes on Yuhao, who was standing in the middle. The captain usually stood in the middle. Yuhao was clearly the captain. It had to be said that Yuhao's demonic face, coupled with his otherworldly aura, made him exceptionally attractive. Among the three people, two of them were already blushing. Only the red-haired girl was somewhat displeased as she stared coldly at Yuhao. What a shameless bastard! She thought to herself hatefully. Both parties, please report your names. The red-haired girl was the first to speak proudly. Class 9, Wu Feng. She's a rank 28 assault-type soul master. After she finished speaking, she stared coldly at Yuhao. She really hated men. The light green-haired girl said, Class 9, Nanmen Yuner. Rank 27 Agility System Soul Grandmaster. The golden-haired girl said, Class 9, Ning Tian. Rank 31 Auxiliary Type Soul Elder. Once she said this, Tang Dong and Xiao Xiao were both stunned. She really was a soul elder. Yuhao really saw through them. Tang Dong wasn't to be outdone. Class 1, Tang Dong. Rank 29 Assault System Soul Grandmaster. Xiao Xiao also said seriously, Class 1, Xiao Xiao. Rank 25 Control System Soul Grandmaster. Yuhao said indifferently, Class 1, Yuhao. Peak Rank 29 Control System Soul Grandmaster. The three of them furrowed their eyebrows when they heard their levels. The strength of Yuhao's group was far beyond what they'd expected. The three of them were only 11 years old, and they'd thought that they'd be at most rank 25. But two of them were actually very close to being soul exalts. They had no choice but to be serious. Begin. Whoosh. Both parties released their martial souls and soul rings at the same time. Tang Dong's two frightening black soul rings formed a stark contrast with Yuhao's two white soul rings. Tang Dong's dragon wings and his own dragon scales, which were reflecting light, caused the three of them to be slightly stunned. His soul rings are actually black? Is he still human? Furthermore, Wu Feng felt a frightening pressure. Her martial soul was actually trembling. However, it only seemed to be effective on her. Yuhao's soul rings were actually white? They felt that it was unbelievable. How did he enter the academy? Furthermore, what was his martial soul? However, they immediately reacted. Mu Jin looked at Tang Dong in disbelief. How is this possible? He actually has two black soul rings. Furthermore, what kind of martial soul is this? How can I not recognize it? However, she slowly recovered. Ning Tian and the other's soul rings were the best combination. Furthermore, Ning Tian was also a rank 31 soul elder. The difference between them wasn't that great. Indeed, apart from Ning Tian's two yellow soul rings and one purple soul ring, Wu Feng and Nanmen Yuner both had two yellow soul rings. What surprised Yuhao and the others was that Wu Feng and Nanmen Yuner's martial souls were of extremely high quality. Wu Feng's martial soul was actually a red dragon. A fire dragon was one of the strongest earth dragons. It wasn't inferior to a blue lightning tyrant dragon. Furthermore, the red dragon was a branch of the Inferno Dragon King, one of the 9 great dragon kings. Nanmen Yun-er's martial soul was a flying-type martial soul, the jade green bird. A 7-colored pagoda that was more than a foot tall appeared in Ning Tian's right palm. Yuhao was stunned when he saw this pagoda. 7 treasures glazed pagoda. Everyone was astonished. This young lady was actually from the 9 treasures glazed sect? The Seven Treasures Glazed Pagoda of the Seven Treasures Glazed Pagoda was hailed as the continent's #1 auxiliary type martial soul. 10,000 years ago, one of the first Shrek 7, Ning Rongrong's martial soul was the Seven Treasures Glazed Pagoda. Furthermore, it evolved into the legendary 9 Treasures Glazed Pagoda. In the end, she ascended to godhood. In order to commemorate her, the Seven Treasures Glazed sect changed its name to the 9 Treasures Glazed sect. However, in Yuhao's opinion, these people were just using Ning Rongrong's achievements to show off. What did it have to do with them that Ning Rongrong's martial soul could become the 9 Treasures Glazed Pagoda and become a god? They were actually using Ning Rongrong's achievements to raise the prestige of the sect? This was really, however, so what? There was nothing they could do about their thick skin. However, this was Shrek, not the 9 Treasures Glazed sect. There was no need for him to give her face. Yuhao thought to himself. Yuhao and Ning Tian both retreated to the back at the same time. Yuhao's spiritual detection sharing started to connect. Ning Tian's voice also sounded. The first of the 7 treasures, speed. The first soul ring on the pagoda lit up, and the dense yellow light made the pagoda even more magnificent. 2 dazzling lights instantly shot out from the pagoda and landed on Wu Feng and Nanmen Yun-er's bodies. Their speed suddenly increased explosively. Wu Feng charged towards Tang Dong. Tang Dong's wings flapped as he flew towards Wu Feng. Bang! Their fists collided. Shockingly, Wu Feng was actually sent flying 10 steps back. Wu Feng was astonished. She was the clearest about her own strength. However, she was no match for Tang Dong. Humph! How dare a mere red dragon be so impudent? Tang Dong snorted coldly. His voice entered Wu Feng's ears, and she actually trembled subconsciously. She actually felt an abnormal fear when facing Tang Dong. It was as if he was the superior, and she was the inferior on Xiao Zhao's side. She had been staring at Nanmen Yun. Just when Nanmen Yun'er was 5 meters away from her, Xiao Zhao's 3 lives soul crush cauldron suddenly appeared in front of her. Nanmen Yun'er couldn't react in time, and she crashed into the cauldron. In the end, she bounced back. However, another cauldron appeared behind her, and her back crashed into the second cauldron before bouncing back to the ground. Following this, 3 cauldrons suddenly descended from the sky and pressed down on Nanmen Yun'er. The 2 of them had actually been subdued. Ning Tian felt that this was inconceivable. Everyone was in disbelief. Mu Jin, who was in the spectators' stand, was also in disbelief. How is this possible? They clearly had Ning Tian's help. How could they be subdued so easily? Fan Yu was deep in thought. He felt that Tang Dong and Xiao Xiao were just executors, and that someone was commanding them. He glanced at Yuhao. Yuhao was still standing there, but his eyes were closed. His first white soul ring had been lit up the entire time, which proved that he had been releasing soul skills. Mu Jin had also thought of what Fan Yu had thought of. She had always overlooked Yuhao, because he only had 2 white soul rings. However, she saw that Yuhao had been standing there calmly, as if he wasn't interested in the battle at all. However, his first soul ring had been lit up the entire time. This also meant that he had been releasing soul skills from the beginning until now. Ning Tian had also sensed that Yuhao was different. She was truly regretful. She had actually overlooked him. He must be very strong to be able to become the team leader. Tang Dong and Xiao Xiao were executors, which meant that Yuhao was the mastermind behind the scenes. She had underestimated him. The second of the 7 treasures is release. The third is strength. She released her second and third soul skills. Wu Feng's fear finally disappeared under the effects of release. Release made her immune to all negative effects, and her strength had also increased by quite a bit under the effects of strength. Nanmen Yun'er also broke free from the 3 cauldrons on her body and looked at Ning Tian gratefully. Hurry up and attack their team leader. It's him. We've all underestimated him. He's been commanding them all this time, Ning Tian shouted. Wu Feng and Nanmen Yun'er were astonished. Afterwards, the two of them attacked Hui Yuhao. However, Tang Dong just stood there in front of Wu Feng, looking at her. You want to go over? Talk after you defeat me. Tang Dong released his first soul skill, Light Dragon Wing Slash. His two pairs of wings suddenly became abnormally sharp. With a flap of his wings, two crescent moonlights slashed towards Wu Feng. Wu Feng also hurriedly released her second soul skill, Dragon Fire. Fire and light slash collided, but they were evenly matched. Wu Feng was in disbelief. She was actually only able to fight him to a standstill even with her enhancements? Tang Dong flapped his wings and instantly appeared in front of her while she was still in a daze. Go down, Fire Lizard! He punched Wu Feng, who had yet to react, and sent her flying off the stage. Nanmen Yun'er and Ning Tian were astonished. Wu Feng had lost? There were only 30 seconds left. Nanmen Yun'er didn't dare to be negligent. She hurriedly avoided the 3 lives Soul Crush cauldrons surrounding her and rushed towards Hui Yuhao. Very good. I just have to get rid of him, Nanmen Yun'er thought to herself. However, Hui Yuhao, who had his eyes closed, dodged and Nanmen Yun'er missed. She was extremely astonished. He could actually see me? His eyes were clearly closed. She flew towards Hui Yuhao once again, while Hui Yuhao dodged once more. However, this time, he appeared directly behind Nanmen Yun'er, his eyes still closed. Idiot! He spat out 2 words. Nanmen Yun'er instantly felt her mind go blank, and she couldn't control herself. She actually rushed towards Ning Tian. Wait, Before Ning Tian could finish speaking, she suddenly felt a sharp pain in her head, and let out a miserable cry. During this period of time, Nanmen Yun'er had already crashed into her, and the two of them fell off the stage together. Wu Feng hurriedly rushed over and supported them. Wu Feng's face was filled with anger and a trace of fear as she looked at Hui Yuhao. Only now did she know that all of this had been planned by Hui Yuhao. At this moment, Ning Tian and Nanmen Yun'er woke up. However, they didn't know how they had lost. Ning Tian looked at Hui Yuhao with a complicated expression. This person is so scary. He didn't even fight seriously from the beginning to the end. Everyone only regained their senses now. They were also confused, and looked at Hui Yuhao in disbelief. Wasn't this victory too ridiculous? Was this his doing? If so, this guy was too scary. Mu Jin still didn't dare to believe that her team had lost so quickly. She had also lost a soul bone. Hui Yuhao's team wins. Young master. That asterisk face must have cheated. How can that asterisk face be so strong? He must have cheated. Why don't we call the people in the sect? Enough. Wu Feng. I know you're not convinced, but a loss is a loss. It's no big deal. Furthermore, I don't think he cheated. It's very likely that this is his strength. Also, don't call me young master in the academy. This isn't the sect. Alright, we lost, but we don't blame ourselves for losing. I still have to thank that Hui Yuhao. He made me realize my own shortcomings. Sometimes, having a high cultivation level doesn't guarantee victory. You also have to rely on intelligence and tactics. This is my weakness. Wu Feng, you have to learn from this lesson too. Yes. The second day of the examination began. There were a lot more people on the viewing platform than yesterday. The competition had yet to begin, but the platform was already filled with people. However, what was strange was that in the center of the platform there was an empty space of about 3 square meters. An old man with disheveled hair and tattered clothes was sitting there. His bare feet were placed on the edge of the platform, and he was drinking wine with a large purple-red gourd in his hand. Beside him were a few roasted chicken legs placed on oiled paper. He was also holding a chicken leg in his hand, and was happily eating with 1 mouthful of wine and 1 mouthful of meat. Those who were able to watch the competition on the platform were all teachers of the Shrek Academy. However, no one approached this old man, and no one questioned him. "Elder Xian, you're here." Wang Yen respectfully walked to the sloppy old man and greeted him softly. "Yes." The old man only responded with an yes before continuing to eat and drink. Wang Yen pointed below the platform and said, "The 3 youths I mentioned are over there. Yesterday." Just as he said this, Elder Xian impatiently waved his chicken leg and said, "I know, I have eyes." Yuhao and the others finished drawing their lots, and the elimination round of the freshman examination officially began. The competition area expanded once again, and 8 spacious fields began simultaneously. Yuhao and the others' opponents this time were 3 youths. As soon as the 3 opponents entered the field, they lined up horizontally. Standing in the middle was a large and fat boy. According to the admission rules of the Shrek Academy, he was at most 12 years old. However, looking at his body, he didn't seem like he was 12 years old. He was at least 1.7 meters tall, and was much taller than Yuhao and the others. More importantly, his waist was close to 1.7 meters. He stood there like a small mountain of meat. As for the other 2 people beside him, compared to him, they were slender. Not only were they shorter by a head, but they were also as thin as a mat. The 2 of them looked a bit similar, as if they were brothers, but they weren't twins. "Both sides, introduce yourselves. Prepare for the competition," the invigilator said in a deep voice. The mountain of meat fiercely slapped his chest, and the fat on his body began to jiggle. "My name is Xie Huanyue, Freshman Class 2. Freshman Class 2, Luo Tianlong. Freshman Class 2, Luo Tianba." The names of the 2 skinny students were quite domineering, but it was unknown if they could take a beating. Yuhao and the others also introduced themselves. "Begin." Yuhao and the others' faces sank again, because Xie Huanyue was actually a 3-ringed soul elder. 2 yellow and 1 purple, the best combination. At the same time he released his soul rings, his body actually swelled up again from 1.7 meters to 1.9 meters. His skin instantly turned dark, and he pounded his chest with his fists, producing muffled thumps. He took large strides towards Yuhao and the others. Luo Tianlong and Luo Tianba didn't immediately release their martial souls. Instead, their figures flashed, and they hid behind Xie Huanyue, using his enormous body to hide. "What are you hiding for? You can't escape God's sight," Yuhao thought to himself. He released his spirit eyes, and 2 white soul rings appeared, connecting the 2 with his spiritual detection sharing. Xiao Xiao released her martial soul, but this time, she didn't directly use her 3 lives soul crush cauldron. Her 3 lives soul crush cauldron floated above her head, and a jade green flute appeared in her hand. This jade green flute was very long, and there were vivid phoenix reliefs on it. Compared to the steadiness of the 3 lives soul crush cauldron, Xiao Xiao, who held it, had the beauty of an otherworldly fairy. A yellow soul ring quietly appeared and lit up, and a faint melody rang out. The melody wasn't very pleasant to listen to, but it gave people a sticky feeling. A layer of jade green halo spread out from Xiao Xiao's body. Xie Huanyue and the others suddenly felt that their speed had become extremely slow. Twin martial souls. Everyone was in disbelief. This girl actually had twin martial souls? Furthermore, she could use both martial souls at the same time? In the spectator stands. Oh? Interesting. Twin martial souls. This girl is not bad. She has actually grasped how to use 2 martial souls at once. Elder Xian's eyes lit up. After that, he looked at Yuhao and was shocked. What a powerful spiritual power. Concrete immaterial. Concrete immaterial is probably at the peak of the spirit source realm, or the spirit domain realm in Dola 3. How is this possible? This kid is only 11 years old. He looked at Yuhao in disbelief. On the stage, Tang Dong also released his martial soul, and a pair of platinum dragon wings spread out from his back, and platinum scales appeared. 2 black soul rings appeared. A powerful dragon's aura exploded. It attacked the Luo brothers. This martial soul is the radiant dragon of the 9 great dragon kings. Such a martial soul actually exists? Elder Xian had already placed the drumstick and wine to one side. His eyes started to turn serious. This dragon's aura actually made his martial soul a little fearful. What did this mean? Tang Dong's white dragon bloodline was very pure. It was very likely that he had the royal bloodline of the White Dragon clan. In other words, the White Dragon King. This kid's martial soul should be the purest White Dragon King bloodline. Furthermore, this terrifying combination of soul rings, a smile appeared on Elder Xian's face. Ha 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 ha. Good. Shrek actually gave birth to 3 amazing kids. Shrek 7 still has a trump card. Tang Dong dealt with the Luo brothers, and Xiao Xiao naturally fought Xie Huanyu. Yuhao was in charge of commanding them with his spiritual detection. The 3 lives Soul Crush Cauldron split into 3 in the air. She didn't aim for success, but she didn't want to make any mistakes. She activated her second soul skill, Cauldron Sweep. Surprisingly, Xie Huanyu didn't dodge or use any soul skills against Xiao Zhao's attack. Instead, he allowed the 3 cauldrons to crash into his body. The moment they collided, Xie Huanyue's body spun in the air. His first soul ring finally lit up, and he unleashed his first soul skill. His huge body expanded once again. This time, he was like a meatball, and his body became round. The 3 lives Soul Crush Cauldron crashed into his body. Just as the cauldron sweep was unleashed, the huge meatball suddenly contracted. It actually dispelled the cauldron's sweep, just like that. After that, it fell straight down towards Xiao Xiao. Yuhao felt that something was amiss, and hurriedly used his ghost shadow perplexing track. He arrived in front of Xiao Xiao and pulled her away. Boom! The huge meatball crashed into the ground, and the ground caved in. Chapter 173. A month later, at Shrek Academy. It was the most important time of the year, the start of the new semester. Early in the morning, there was already a huge crowd outside Shrek Academy. Apart from the older students, most of them were parents and relatives who had brought their children to register for the entrance exam. No matter what your background was, or where you got your recommendation from, you had to go home if you couldn't pass the entrance exam. A figure dashed forward at an astonishing speed from the Poseidon Lake. He quickly passed through Shrek Plaza and arrived at the first-year dormitory. He muttered to himself as he ran, I'm late. He must have been back a long time ago. He must have been waiting anxiously. It's all my fault. Why did I train so hard? I've been infected by that cultivation maniac. However, I'll definitely give him a surprise this time. The youth arrived at the dormitory's door as he spoke. The old man at the door was still lying on his recliner, and he looked extremely carefree. Hello, Grandpa. The young man's footsteps didn't stop as he quickly rushed into the dormitory after saying those words excitedly. The old man revealed a trace of amusement on his face, but he quickly returned to normal. He squinted his eyes, and was comfortably immersed in his half-asleep state. Bang, bang, bang! The youth rushed to the dormitory's door and knocked hard. He shook the door so hard that dust fell from the door frame. Nian quickly jumped away and laughed. Yuhao, hurry up and open the door. Look at how lazy you are. You only know how to cultivate. The dust on the door frame can bury someone, but you don't even know how to wipe it. The youth who rushed over was Tang Dong. His hair was dyed with streaks of platinum, and he was slightly taller than he was a month ago. His aura was also different. Why wasn't there any reaction? Not a single sound came from the dormitory. Tang Dong was stunned. Hey, you can't be so petty. Are you really angry? I didn't come back late on purpose. I was held up by something urgent. Tang Dong knocked again, but there was still no reaction. Yuhao, you miser. If you don't open the door, I'll open it myself. Tang Dong said fiercely. There was still no reaction. He hurriedly took out his key and opened the door. The dormitory was very quiet. Everything was exactly the same as when they left. Tang Dong's blanket was rolled up and covered with a white sheet to prevent dust. Yuhao's bed was still bare. There was already a layer of dust on the ground and the table. There was no sign of anyone returning. Tang Dong rushed into the dorm room and looked at his own bed before looking at Yuhao's bed. He felt his heart skip a beat, and his face immediately turned pale. He hadn't come back. He hadn't come back yet. Tang Dong felt a chill run from his feet to his head. He'd rather Yuhao had returned a long time ago and scolded him when he saw him, than be in this situation. The feeling of his heart being hollowed out caused his breathing to quicken. How could he not be back yet? Didn't he say that his teacher was waiting for him at the outskirts of the Great Star Do Forest? His teacher was accompanying him to obtain his second soul ring. Why hadn't he returned yet? Where could he have gone? Wang Dong panicked. He took a few deep breaths of the slightly turbid air in the dorm room before he suddenly turned around and rushed out of his room. He asked his grandfather, but he didn't know. He asked Joey, but she didn't know either. He asked everyone who was close to Yuhao, but they all didn't know either. 2 days passed. The seniors' report started in the morning, and only ended in the afternoon, which meant that Yuhao was late. At Shrek's door, Tang Dongyuan was looking forward to it, and he was waiting. Why wasn't he back yet? Why? Shrek Academy's rules were very strict. If one didn't report on time, they would be dealt with as if they had been expelled. It was the same even for inner courtyard disciples. The sky gradually darkened, but he still hadn't returned. Wang Dong looked into the distance, and his gaze was a little dazed. He was 12 years old this year, and was slightly younger than Yuhao. In the 12 years of his life, this was the first time he'd missed someone so much. As he stood there, his legs had already become somewhat numb. However, the past year of living and studying in the same dorm room as Yuhao continuously surfaced in his mind. They'd attended classes together, cultivated together, participated in the freshman assessment together, won the championship together, eaten roasted fish together, and finished their first year in Shrek Academy together. I'm back. Where are you? The sky gradually darkened, and the afterglow of the setting sun left behind a faint red color in the distant sky. The sunset was very beautiful, but it couldn't illuminate the haze in Wang Dong's heart. It was too late. It was already too late. It was already past the time for him to report. It was too late. It was too late. Bei Bei, Tang Ye, and Xiao Xiao arrived at the academy's entrance one after the other. As they looked at the gradually darkening sky, their expressions also darkened. At this moment, they saw a figure slowly limping towards them from afar. As he walked closer, the 4 of them looked at him in disbelief. He had a beautiful appearance, a handsome face, and an otherworldly aura. His icy blue hair hung down to his hips. His gaze was a little weak. His clothes were tattered. He looked at the 4 of them, who were in a daze, and laughed. I'm back. After he finished speaking, he directly collapsed to the ground. The next day, when Yuhao woke up, he saw a handsome sleeping face. Dong or Wudong, how should I face you now? Yuhao muttered. The corners of Tang Dong's eyes twitched, and he opened his eyes. Suddenly, a peerlessly beautiful face was reflected in his eyes. Yuhao, you're finally awake. Tang Dong's spirits were instantly boosted, and he hugged him. Asterisk. You're a big baddie. Why did you come back so late? Yuhao could feel the moist tears in his eyes. He laughed. It seemed like it would be quite interesting to repeat my era again. I'm sorry to have made you worry. My sister brought me to a place That place awakened some things in me. Yuhao consoled him. That sister of yours is really something. You were so badly injured, but she didn't bring you here personally. She's really an incompetent sister. Tang Dong said unhappily. Don't talk about my sister like that. She's very good to me. Let me tell you, I awakened something incredible. Yuhao said. What is it? Tang Dong was puzzled. Let's not talk about it. Hurry up and get up. I have to report. Yuhao hurriedly pushed him up. You're still thinking about reporting? You're already late, okay? Tang Dong said hurriedly. What? Then all the more I have to admit my mistake. In the office, Fan Yu, Zhou Yi, and Tang Dong stared at Yuhao in disbelief. Why was it disbelief? Because icy blue dragon scales covered most of Yuhao's body, and his hands had become dragon claws. A pair of icy blue dragon horns protruded from both sides of his forehead, and a pair of icy blue dragon wings retracted behind his back. The surrounding temperature dropped rapidly, and it was extremely cold. A red soul ring floated beside his body. Fan Yu and Zhou Yi had no choice but to release their martial souls to resist the pressure. This is the reason why I'm late. My sister realized that it was time for me to awaken my second martial soul, which had been sealed for a long time. She brought me to the extreme north and helped me awaken my second martial soul, the Ice Dragon King. Originally, I could have added a 10,000-year soul ring to my body, but my sister said that she wanted to add a 100,000-year soul ring to my body. I heard from my sister that it was because my Ice Dragon King martial soul was intelligent. It disdained 10,000-year soul rings, and only a 100,000-year soul ring was barely worthy of it. Therefore, I took a gamble of life and death, and came back injured. Yuhao said weakly. Of course, he was lying to them. His sister didn't appear at all. Of course, that 100,000-year soul ring was a simulation. Otherwise, a 600,000-year soul ring with 6 golden patterns would have scared them to death. This means that Yuhao, you now have a 100,000-year soul ring and a 100,000-year soul bone? Oh my God! Your sister is so good to you. If only I had a sister like her. Tang Dong was a little envious. He was only envious. He didn't have any improper thoughts. Fan Yu and Zhou Yi took a long time to recover from their shock. It was simply too impactful, and they almost thought that Yuhao was a soul beast in human form. They were just short of executing him on the spot. Afterwards, Fan Yu arranged for Yuhao to not reveal his second martial soul too early. If he did, he was afraid that he'd attract the attention of others. In the canteen, Yuhao and Tang Dong met Xiao Xiao, Bei Bei, and the others. Yuhao repeated what he'd told Teacher Zhou. When they found out that Yuhao had actually awakened his second martial soul, the Ice Dragon King, and even obtained a 100,000-year soul ring and a soul bone, they were all astonished. However, they still kept it a secret. They were from the same sect, and the stronger Yuhao was, the better it would be for the sect and everyone else. Of course, they wouldn't covet it. Following this, everyone watched as Yuhao ate a feast that was enough for 100 people. The bowls that were piled several meters high were even swaying, as expected of the foodie highness. After he finished eating, Yuhao patted his stomach in satisfaction. I'm only half full, what should I do? Should I eat another 100-person feast? Forget it, let's go. Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Xiao Xiao prepared to leave the canteen. As they walked forward, they bumped into 3 familiar faces. Weren't they the 3 members of Dai Huabin's team? Dai Huabin's figure seemed to have grown much taller, and his originally cold expression seemed to have become a bit gloomier. He didn't seem like a 12-year-old youth at all. Instead, he had a maturity that far surpassed his peers. Beside him, Zhu Lu's figure had also become more stylish. Girls matured relatively early, and her height wasn't much different from Dai Huabin's. She walked without a sound, and was worthy of being the possessor of the netherworld civet. The other girl walking with them was naturally the nine-tailed fox soul master, Trilogy. She was different from Dai Huabin's assault type and Zhu Lu's agility type. Trilogy's position was more ambiguous. Her first soul skill, charm, should be considered a control-type soul skill, but her second soul skill, foxtail needle, was between assault type and agility type. When Dai Huabin and Zhu Lu went to Class 2, she followed them. After all, they were in the same group during the freshman assessment. When he saw Dai Huabin again, Yuhao didn't have the same killing intent as before. After all, he had broken the seal on his first memory and recalled many things. Dai Huabin was now just a child in front of him. Did he need to lower himself to his level? He revealed a sweet smile. Yo! Long time no see, Dai Huabin. As long as he greeted him, he would hurry to class. That was what he thought, but Dai Huabin didn't think so. In his eyes, Yuhao's smile was mocking him. He had lost the competition, and he had also lost the election for class president. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He hated that he couldn't wait to kill Yuhao to vent his anger. Do you dare? I'm asking you, do you dare? A cold light flashed in Zhu Lu's eyes as she mocked. Oh, isn't this Yuhao? That's not right. I heard that you didn't report in yesterday. Did you go to the wrong place? Or do you not know the academy's rules? Even if you're an inner courtyard disciple, you'll be expelled if you report late. Yuhao narrowed his eyes, a faint smile hanging on his lips. Dai Huabin, he said slowly, take care of your girl. Don't tell her to call you whatever she wants. How annoying. Was someone deliberately provoking him? What should he do? If he didn't respond, he wouldn't be Yuhao. You! Zhu Lu instantly exploded. He actually dared to call her a girl. Dai Huabin was furious. Zhu Lu was his woman, not a prostitute. Zhu Lu said fiercely, as a member of Shrek Academy, I must uphold the Academy's rules. You shouldn't be here. Hurry up and get out. You're such a good prostitute. The Academy hasn't even said anything yet, and you dare to come here and shout nonsense? What do you think you are at Shrek? You're just a core disciple. Do you think you can represent the Academy? Girl. Yuhao's eyes were still narrowed as he smiled faintly. Dai Huabin's veins bulged. You're looking for death. He threw a punch at Yuhao. But in that instant, Yuhao disappeared. A pure white hand grabbed Dai Huabin's right shoulder. Yuhao actually appeared in front of him in that instant. So fast. No one could react in time. Dai Huabin's entire body froze. He didn't dare to move. He was sure that if Yuhao wanted to kill him, he could do it in an instant. Alright, calm down. How I'm dealt with is the Academy's business. Why are you students so worried? You just have to study obediently. Yuhao's eyes narrowed as he smiled. After a short moment of anger, Dai Huabin regained his composure. He said coldly, Yuhao, the advancement test is about to begin. Do you dare to make a bet? Again? Yuhao felt helpless. In his first memory seal, more than half of his memories were from the continent of Dolu. Of course he knew what he wanted to bet on. Yuhao suddenly opened his deep eyes and looked coldly at Dai Huabin. Do you want to bet on who will have the highest score in the advancement test? And you want to bet on the freshman assessment reward? Boom! Everyone was shocked. Dai Huabin took a step back and looked at Yuhao in disbelief. How did he know? Tang Dong and Xiao Xiao were furious. The freshman assessment's reward was not only the Academy's responsibility to hunt for soul rings, but also the emptiness devil leopard's left leg bone that Xiao Xiao had already fused with. A soul bone wasn't like a soul ring, which could only follow a soul master. If a soul master died, the soul ring would naturally dissipate. However, a soul bone could remain. As long as the soul bone itself wasn't destroyed, the original owner died, or the limb that the soul bone was attached to was severed, it could be reabsorbed by someone else. Apart from special external soul bones, all other soul bones were like this. In other words, this bet was equivalent to cutting off one of Xiao Zhao's legs. Humph! Yuhao snorted coldly. A terrifying aura that only targeted Dai Huabin was revealed. In that instant, Dai Huabin felt as if he were facing an enormous ice-blue dragon. His entire body started to tremble. He was afraid. He was about to kneel down. Zhu Lu hurriedly supported Dai Huabin, who was about to kneel down. Everyone only felt that the temperature around them had dropped slightly. Let's change the bet. Whoever loses has to kowtow and apologize to the other party. Don't reject it. You have no chance of rejecting it. Yuhao looked down at Dai Huabin. After he finished speaking, he called Tang Dong and Xiao Xiao to leave, leaving behind the trembling Dai Huabin in the shadows. Teacher Wang Yan had watched the entire process unfold with his eyes. He had also felt the coldness. He had even seen Yuhao's blue pupils turn into icy blue vertical slits in an instant. He pushed up his glasses and seemed to be deep in thought. Chapter 174. The battle was skipped. Only Yuhao, Wang Dong, Xiao Xiao, Bei Bei, He Kaitu, Su Sanshi, and Jiang Nannan were left in the sole dueling area. Elder Xian slowly turned around and faced the 7 of them. You've all heard of the name Shrek 7, right? That's a name that's on par with the ace combination. There's a statue of the founder of our academy, as well as the first Shrek 7. Although no one remembers what the ace combination looked like, there are some records of their deeds in the history books. However, do you know where the name Shrek 7 and ace combination came from? When the head of the Golden Iron Triangle, the four-eyed owl, Flanders, founded the Shrek Academy, there were only a few teachers, and even fewer students than the teachers. At that time, Dean Flanders raised the slogan that our academy only accepted monsters, not ordinary people. However, how hard were monsters to find? It wasn't until the appearance of the first Shrek 7 and ace combination that the Shrek Academy finally had a chance. There were a few reasons why they were called Shrek 7 and ace combination. Firstly, it was because they were monstrous geniuses from the Shrek Academy. Secondly, it was because there were only 9 of them in the academy at that time. Most importantly, it was because they represented the academy in the elite Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy tournament. At the start of that tournament, no one was optimistic about Shrek 7 and ace combination. Our academy was also unknown. However, Shrek 7 and ace combination relied on their own strength to fight their way out of the encirclement and into the finals. Under the leadership of Ancestor Tang San, who was the third monster of Shrek, and Ancestor Tang Yu, who was the king of the ace combination, Shrek 7 and ace combination defeated their opponents who were much stronger than them. From that, they established the foundation for our academy to become the #1 academy on the continent in the future. The name Shrek 7 and ace combination also spread. In order to thank the first Shrek 7 for his contributions to the academy would choose a new Shrek 7 every 5 years. As for the selection of the ace group, it was decided by the pavilion master himself. It was very difficult to become an ace group. They had to complete the 4 impossible tasks. It was said that these tasks were set by the ancestors of the Tang Yu. The first task was to reach the 6-ring level before the age of 15. The second requirement was to become a titled Dolua before the age of 25. The third requirement was that all soul rings after the 6th one had to be 100,000-year soul ring. The fourth task was to return from the Forbidden Island alive. Therefore, until now, there had not been a second-generation ace combination. As for what a Forbidden Island is, you will know in the future. It's a dangerous place with opportunities. All of you are now preparing to become Shrek 7. You'll be participating in the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament with this generation's Shrek 7. You must be prepared. The fact that you guys are part of the preparatory team is a secret of the Academy. No one is allowed to speak of it. Otherwise, they would be stripped of their qualifications. From now on, all of you will train with me for 1 day every week. There's still a month before the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament. I'll bring all of you to train with the 7 freaks. I hope that all of you can seize this precious opportunity to improve yourselves as much as possible. Alright, you guys can disperse. Yuhao and Tang Dong, the 2 of you stay behind. Yuhao and the rest were arranged according to their age. They were eldest, Bei Bei, Martial Soul, Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon, rank 49 Soul Ancestor. Second, He Kaitu, Martial Soul, Cigar, rank 47 Soul Ancestor. Third, Su Sancher, Martial Soul, Xuanwu Turtle, peak rank 48 Soul Ancestor. Fourth, Jiang Nanan, Martial Soul, Soft Bone Rabbit, rank 46 Soul Ancestor. Fifth, Xiao Xiao, Martial Soul, 3 Lives Soul Crush Cauldron, 9 Phoenix Worshipping Flute, rank 31 Soul Elder. Sixth, Yuhao, Martial Soul, Spirit Eyes, Icy Dragon King, rank 36 Soul Elder. Seventh, Tang Dong, Martial Soul, Light White Dragon King, rank 35 Soul Elder. Everyone's strength was above level 30 in the blink of an eye. 2 weeks had passed. Elder Xian had given them pointers on their cultivation twice. Elder Xian's teaching method could be described as simple and crude. It was an actual battle. He didn't hold back at all. Today was a special day. In the assessment area, Bei Bei, Yuhao and the rest stood in front of the other 7 people. The 7 of them were all wearing red uniforms. At the very front was someone that Yuhao recognized. It was Ma Xiaotao. The other 6 students beside Ma Xiaotao were 4 males and 2 females. They looked to be around her age. The red-clothed inner courtyard students represented the strongest fighting strength of Shrek Academy. These 7 people were this generation's Shrek 7. Elder Xian nodded and said, "Everyone's here. There are still 10 days before the new Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament begins. I believe that all of you can guess each other's identities. That's right, all of you are the main and reserve team members for this tournament. You're also the new and old Shrek 7. I let all of you meet today to familiarize yourselves with each other, and also to let all of you familiarize yourselves with each other's abilities." As he spoke, Elder Xian turned to Yuhao and the rest. "Don't think that you're just going to be spectators. On the contrary, if there aren't any special circumstances, all of you can participate. When our opponents aren't too strong, you'll be the ones to compete. This way, we can better conceal the abilities of the main team members. Don't be happy too early. It's inevitable that we'll send all of you out. However, you can't lose. If you lose, you know the consequences. As long as I'm alive, you can forget about entering the inner courtyard. Furthermore, all of you have to correct your attitude. In this tournament, all of you can only be the auxiliary team members of the main team. Obey orders at all times. Do you understand?" "Yes." Bei Bei, Yuhao, and the rest said in unison. Yuhao felt a faint chill. He didn't need to look to know who it was. He glanced at the handsome golden-haired man beside Ma Xiaotao. Dai Huabin, Dai Huabin's elder brother, and also his own elder brother. His mother's death had nothing to do with him, but he knew that Dai Huabin was behind it. However, he didn't report it to the White Tiger Duke. This made Yuhao have a bad impression of him. Elder Xian said, "All right, all of you introduce yourselves and get to know each other. We'll start with the preparatory team." Bei Bei was the first to step forward. "I'm Bei Bei, a 5th-year student from the outer courtyard. I'm a rank 49 Soul Ancestor." He Kaitu was the second to step forward. "I'm He Kaitu, a Class 5 Soul Engineer from the Soul Tool Department." Su Sancher stepped forward. "I'm Su Sancher, a 5th-year student from the outer courtyard. I'm a peak rank 48 Soul Ancestor." Jiang Nanan said, I'm Jiang Nannan, a fifth-year student from the outer courtyard. I'm a rank 46 agility type soul ancestor. The other 6, aside from Ma Xiaotao, were astonished. The first 4 were soul masters above rank 40. They weren't even 15 years old yet. It was obvious how talented they were. However, the next 3 gave them a shock. Xiao Xiao said, I'm Xiao Xiao. Greetings, seniors. I'm a second-year student from the outer courtyard. I'm a rank 31 soul elder. Yuhao said, I'm Yuhao, a second-year student from the outer courtyard. I'm a rank 36 soul elder. Please guide me. Tang Dong said, I'm Tang Dong, a second-year student from the outer courtyard. I'm a rank 35 soul elder. Please guide me. The 6 of them stared at the 3 of them in disbelief. 3 second-year students from the outer courtyard? Furthermore, they're all rank 30 and above? Their talent is truly. Elder Xian nodded and pointed towards the inner courtyard. It's your turn. Ma Xiaotao walked out and glanced at Yuhao. She smiled. Yuhao's face immediately turned red, but he quickly covered it up. Inner courtyard, Ma Xiaotao. I'm a rank 69 assault-type soul emperor. Everyone sucked in a breath of air. Rank 69? Isn't that close to becoming a rank 70 soul sage? Ma Xiaotao is only 20 years old. In fact, the 6 of them only found out today that Ma Xiaotao was already at rank 69. They were even more shocked than Yuhao and the others. They knew that Ma Xiaotao's martial soul had a problem a few years ago, and her cultivation had stagnated at rank 66. It was very uncomfortable, so she had no choice but to stop cultivating. Otherwise, she would have become a soul sage by now. So why did she suddenly soar by 3 levels? They quickly calmed down. After Ma Xiaotao, Dai Yuebin walked out. Inner courtyard, Dai Yueheng. I'm a rank 64 assault-type soul emperor. He glanced at Yuhao from time to time. Yuhao ignored him. As long as he doesn't provoke me, there's no need for me to make things difficult for him. Although he didn't have a good impression of his elder brother in name, he didn't have a bad impression of him either. After Dai Yueheng, another male student walked up. He wasn't as muscular as Dai Yueheng, but he was still tall and slender. There was a warm smile on his face as he said, Inner courtyard, Chen Zifeng. I'm a rank 57 assault-type soul king. A petite girl walked out. Inner courtyard, Shi. I'm a rank 56 agility-type soul king. The 5th person was also a female student. Compared to Shi, she was much prettier. Unlike Ma Xiaotao's fiery aura, she was cold and aloof. It was easy for her to leave a deep impression on others. Her skin was very white, and wasn't inferior to Yuhao's at all. Inner courtyard, Ling Luochen. I'm a rank 55 control-type soul king. A petite boy walked out. Inner courtyard, Yao Haoshuan. I'm a rank 55 control-type soul king. Finally, there was an inner courtyard disciple with a graceful appearance. Inner courtyard, Gong Yangma. I'm a rank 59 auxiliary-type soul king. The group competition, Ma Xiaotao's group, was led by Ma Xiaotao. The team members were Gong Yangma, Yuhao, Tang Dong, Shi, Bei, and He Kaitu. Dai Yuebin's group was led by Dai Yuebin. The team members were Ling Luochen, Chen Zifeng, Yao Haoshuan, Su Sanshi, Jiang Nannan, and Xiao Xiao. Elder Xian hugged his wine gourd and chuckled. Very good. Since you've already chosen, I'll give you 10 minutes to plan your strategy. After 10 minutes, the competition will begin. The loser can just shout, I'm a pig. Everyone wanted to laugh, but didn't. Both parties hurriedly arranged their strategies. Yuhao, you'll be in charge of the entire competition later. Also, I'll leave Ling Luochen to you. The quality of your martial soul can completely suppress hers. Understood, senior sister. Yuhao said. Gong Yangma and Shi were both astonished. Ma Xiaotao actually trusts this junior brother so much? Begin. Elder Xian ordered. Soul rings were instantly released. white, yellow, purple, and black. Only 2 of them attracted people's attention, Tang Dong and Yuhao. Tang Dong actually had 3 black soul rings. Yuhao, on the other hand, had 3 white soul rings. The gap between them was huge. There was also Tang Dong's martial soul. It was mighty, domineering, and exceptionally attractive. Even Gong Yangma felt like submitting to it. Gong Yangma's martial soul was a rainbow dragon. It was the weakest of the dragons, but it was the strongest of the dragons in terms of support. It liked to submit to the strongest dragons. As for Yuhao, no one could tell what his martial soul was. Spiritual detection sharing. Apart from Ma Xiaotao, Tang Dong, Bei Bei, and He Kaitu, Shi and Gong Yangma stared at Yuhao in disbelief. Was this his skill? He actually had such a miraculous soul skill? A 10-year soul ring actually had such a powerful skill? Shi and Gong Yangma retracted their contempt for Yuhao. On the contrary, they started to pay attention to him. Ling Luochen's ice was already in front of them. Ma Xiaotao suddenly retreated. Yuhao, go. Suppress her eyes. She shouted at Yuhao. Shrek's 6 freaks felt strange. Why was he called? Yuhao immediately flashed to the front. Instantly, an even more frightening chill enveloped the entire arena. A pair of enormous icy blue dragon wings unfurled behind Yuhao's back. Icy blue scales covered a portion of his body. A red soul ring suddenly appeared. Everyone had the illusion that they were facing a living ice-blue dragon. Gong Yangma suddenly felt a sense of submission. Furthermore, the feeling of submission this time was even more intense. Ling Luochen's ice actually started to attack them. She directly froze them into ice sculptures. 100,000-year soul ring. Everyone stared at Yuhao in disbelief. Even Elder Xian was astonished. He had never seen Yuhao fight before. Therefore, he was extremely shocked when he saw Yuhao's 100,000-year soul ring. Ma Xiaotao's team wins. Chapter 175. At night, Wang Yan was going to bring Yuhao and the rest to the auction. Other than Tang Dong, who was a little against it, everyone else went. Their gains were pretty good. They bought soul milk bottles, nude rays, and some high-grade soul tools. It's about time. It should appear soon. Yuhao thought to himself. Everyone must be very curious about what this mysterious gift is. It's getting late, and Qingye doesn't beat around the bush. This mysterious gift can be considered the most ordinary, but also the most inseparable, close friend for soul engineers. Every soul engineer needs it. However, our last auction item today is completely different. It's not a soul tool. That's why I said that it shouldn't appear here. However, it's too closely related to soul engineers. Before I lift the veil, I'll say one last thing. With its value and rarity, it's worthy of being auctioned at the Starlight auction. Please take a look, everyone. The moment the veil was lifted, everyone's attention was drawn to it. The dazzling light that everyone was looking forward to didn't appear. What appeared was an extremely ordinary item. Just like Qingye had said, this was something that every soul engineer was familiar with, and couldn't do without. It was about half a foot long, and was only as thick as a finger. From bottom to top, it changed from wide to narrow. At the very top, there was an extremely sharp point, while at the bottom, there was a sharp blade that was about half an inch wide. The entire item was simple and black. There were faint patterns carved on it, and it exuded an ancient aura. However, it was also a little gloomy. Many bidders let out dissatisfied sighs. Obviously, they did not feel that this mysterious gift had brought them any surprise. However, there were a few people whose pupils shrank rapidly. The appearance of this item had shocked them. Carving knife. Yes, this was a carving knife that soul engineers used to carve formation arrays. The 2 sections of the carving knife had their own uses. When carving different formation arrays, they would be used for different purposes. Every soul engineer needed a carving knife. This was a necessity for creating soul tools. On the Dolua Continent's carving knife leaderboard, there are only a total of 100 carving knives that are ranked at the top. Unfortunately, more than 2/3 of them are in the Sun-Moon Empire. This was one of the main reasons why the Sun-Moon Empire had so many soul engineers, and why they were so powerful. And what you see in front of you is one of the top 100 carving knives, which is the ranked carving knife I just mentioned. As soon as the words ranked carving knife were mentioned, the audience burst into an uproar. The previous size had all disappeared. If this was just a normal ranked carving knife, then all of you should know that it wouldn't appear here no matter what. Ranked carving knives were one of the most valuable tools in the world of soul engineers. They were even more valuable than some rare materials. The reason why this ranked carving knife appeared in today's Level 4 auction as the finale was because it had a certain problem. It was ranked 99th on the list of carving knives. In fact, with its ability, it shouldn't have been ranked so low. It was even possible for him to enter the top 30. The reason why it was ranked so low was because it was a cursed carving knife. It was also known as soul-devouring carving knife. Yuhao's voice suddenly rang out. Everyone heard him. Indeed, there are distinguished guests who know their stuff. That's right, this carving knife is ranked 99th on the list of carving knives, the soul-devouring carving knife, which is also known as the ominous knife. 3,000 years ago, it appeared in the Sun-Moon Empire. Its creator was a shockingly talented soul engineer. It's said that this soul engineer's cultivation eventually reached Class 9. Furthermore, he wasn't just a soul engineer, he was also a soul master, a terrifying evil soul master. 3,000 years ago, he brought about a reign of terror to the continent. The starting bid was 100,000, but no one bid. I bid 100,000 golden soul coins. Yuhao's voice rang out once again. After hearing Yuhao's bid, everyone from the Shrek Academy was astonished. Even Bei, Su Sancher, and the others, who didn't understand soul tools, could tell that there was something wrong with this carving knife from Qing Ye's introduction and the silence in the hall. However, Yuhao had already bid, and he didn't even discuss it with them. He was little junior brother, you. Bei furrowed his brow. Don't worry. I can break his curse with this thing. Yuhao was very confident. 100,000 golden soul coins going once. 100,000 golden soul coins going twice. 100,000 golden soul coins going thrice. Sold. The auction ended. Wang Yan passed the carving knife to Yuhao, and Yuhao caressed it as if it were a treasure. Old friend. We finally meet. I can't free you right now. I'll free you later. Tang Dong's room. Tang Dong, you're feeling very strange today. What's going on? Yuhao asked. I don't know. I keep feeling that there's another personality in my head. Tang Dong was a little nervous. Alright, stop talking. Do you trust me? Yuhao asked seriously. Of course. Tang Dong said without hesitation. Then, I'll enter your spiritual sea to take a look. You won't mind, right? Yuhao asked. What do you want to do? Tang Dong asked. Just close your eyes. Oh. Tang Dong really did close his eyes. Yuhao furrowed his brow. Third brother. Don't send me flying again this time. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson in the future. Yuhao touched Tang Dong's forehead with his forehead, and instantly boom. A bluish-gold trident imprint appeared on Tang Dong's forehead, and a frightening recoil was instantly felt, and Yuhao was about to be sent flying. Fuck. Third brother, you're such a pervert. Yuhao cursed in his heart. However, whoosh. A gold and silver scale on Yuhao's chest suddenly shone, and a frightening force erupted. The two forces collided. Two screams were heard, and Yuhao and Tang Dong were sent flying, and they crashed into the wall at the same time. Yuhao. What are you doing? That hurts. What was that just now? That gold and silver glow. Aren't I doing this for your own good? Who knew that a strange thing in your body would resist? That gold and silver glow was a protective amulet my sister gave me. Clear Sky Sect. Little Dong. Big Brother. Someone triggered Little Dong's seal. That person also has a frightening aura. Alright, quiet down. That person triggered it. Ah? It's him? Then are we still going to do something about it? Do something about it? How are we going to do something about it? Go ahead and do it if you can. If you dare to provoke him, I'll give it to you. A god realm, light rain. I'm really sorry. Brother, I didn't do it on purpose. I'm sincere. I just hope that the auspicious beast won't come over. A certain person shuddered. Great Stardow Forest, boom. A golden-haired young lady jumped out of the lake of life. Someone touched Yuhao? They're courting death. Wait, that aura just now, was it Poseidon? Humph. What's Tang-san doing? Forget it, it's fine as long as Yuhao is fine. I won't stoop to his level. If something happens to Yuhao, I'll tear your god realm to pieces. Undead Plain, Yuhao stood in the middle of a huge pile of skeletons, liches, spirits, zombies, bone dragons, demons, abominations, and many other undead. The Death Knight, Lich King, stood at the front. I'm going to fuse with something. Protect me. Yuhao's voice sounded. The undead bowed respectfully to him. The Death Knight only bowed slightly. They sat down around Yuhao. Yuhao also sat down cross-legged. He took out a jade green knife. He had completely erased the curse. The life gold had been restored to its original state. The life gold suddenly trembled and flew up on its own. Finally, it aimed at Yuhao's forehead. Whoosh! It rushed over. Yuhao immediately closed his eyes. Endure! A scream resounded through the undead plain. At this moment, a jade-green vertical eye opened in the middle of Yuhao's forehead. It emitted a strong vitality. His body was bound by 8 pitch-black chains with faint golden patterns. He was covered in wounds. Damn it! I just opened the Eye of Life. Why did I encounter this damned seal? Yuhao cursed. Since this was the case, Yuhao immediately summoned the life gold. A jade-green knife slashed at the 3rd chain. Break for me! Gotcha! The 3rd chain was broken. Boom! A huge wave of memories rushed into Yuhao's mind. The first god of emotions. Electrolux, the 9 great dragon kings, the Qilin and the 9-tailed Emperor Scorpion, the 7 spirits, Cheer and Wudong, and that bastard Tang-san. I'm really recalling some bad memories. Third brother, just you wait. Yuhao held his head with one hand and muttered. He held a jade-green sword in front of him. Yuhao's life gold had miraculously fused with the sword. Boom! An unusually strong vitality burst forth. The sword suddenly became 1 size bigger. Yuhao's wounds were instantly healed. What terrifying vitality! Yuhao was also in awe. With a wave of his right hand, the sword flew into Yuhao's hand. He held the sword hilt and looked at the 2-meter-long sword. Old friend, you must have missed me a lot, right? Life sword. Yuhao stroked the sword. The sword trembled slightly, and then nothing happened. Haha. Are you acting cute? What an obedient child. Yuhao kissed the life sword, causing it to tremble again. You're still shy? You're not a girl, are you? Yuhao was a little surprised. The life sword trembled again. Really? The sword spirit is a girl? Forget it, let's not care about that. Hurry up and come in. Yuhao opened his 3rd eye again. The life sword turned into a green light and entered his 3rd eye. Yuhao sensed his 2nd spiritual world. There was actually a naked girl with jade green hair who was 10 years old. She was in a deep sleep. The sword spirit of the life sword? I'll call you Little Linger from now on. Yuhao thought. Chapter 176. Shrek vs. Thousand Spirit. 10 minutes of preparation time, Shrek's resting area. Yuhao, this thing will be useful in a bit, just watch, they're definitely going to lose. Both sides went up on stage, both sides took one side. On Shrek Academy's side, Bei Bei and Su Sancher stood at the front. Behind them were Jiang Nan and He Kaitu. Behind them, Tang Dong and Xiao Xiao stood on either side, while Huiyuhao stood in the center. Huiyuhao crossed his arms in front of his chest and closed his eyes, as if he was resting. On the other side, the members of the Thousand Spirits Advanced Soul Academy were all looking at him. Huiyuhao had sealed his opponent in ice in the first round. He'd insta-killed his opponent, which had brought a lot of pressure and fear to everyone. Huiyuhao looked like he was only 12 years old. He'd actually insta-killed his opponent. On the Thousand Spirits Advanced Soul Academy's side, the javelin-like captain's gaze landed on Huiyuhao. His eyes flickered, but there was no fear in them. There was only an intense desire to fight. He wanted to know exactly how strong this mysterious youth was. Even if he couldn't win, he'd at least let the other competitors know how strong this mysterious youth was. On the Thousand Spirits Advanced Soul Academy side, it wasn't their captain who stood in front. Instead, there were 4 people. These 4 people were all tall male students, and they stood there like a wall. Behind them was the javelin-throwing captain. Behind the javelin captain were 2 girls. These 2 girls were very easy to recognize, because one of them had red hair, while the other had blue hair. They were very eye-catching. All 7 of them looked to be around 20 years old. The formation they'd formed gave off a feeling of being impregnable. Begin. Whoosh. On Shrek's side, everyone except Huiyuhao released their martial souls and soul rings at the same time and charged forward. Everyone except the 2 girls at the very back had released their martial souls and soul rings. Everyone except for the last 2 girls rushed forward. Huiyuhao looked at the 2 girls at the back. To be exact, he was looking at the huge blue bear and red tiger beside them. Ice bear and fire tiger. Ha! Huiyuhao's lips curled upwards. Huiyuhao had actually released his spiritual detection long ago. In his simulated state, no one could see his soul rings, and they all felt that he was just standing there, motionless. Enlingye's huge bear abruptly raised its pair of huge paws, then heavily slapped the ground. A layer of icy blue light emerged from the ground, cleverly bypassing the 4 spirit rhinoceros shield soul masters and rapidly expanding outwards. The cold aura instantly caused the temperature on the stage to plummet. Enlingye's second soul skill, Ice Seal. Bei Bei, Su Sancher, Jiang Nan, and He Kaitu, who were in the process of charging forward, were affected by this cold air. Furthermore, a layer of ice was rapidly condensing on the surface of the stage. The glossy surface caused the ground beneath their feet to become somewhat unstable. Blazing flames were rapidly rising from the body of the blaze tiger that Fei Yuyan had released. Her first, second, and third soul rings were shining brightly at this moment. Intense flames were spat out from the tiger's mouth at Shen Su's feet. Immediately, a fiery red ring of light appeared, dyeing Shen Su's entire body scarlet. Her first soul skill, Raging Flame Ring, gave the target a fire-type soul skill and a strong resistance to fire, giving them both fire-type defensive and offensive capabilities. After receiving the Raging Flame Ring's amplification, the thousand-strike spear in Shen Su's hand was instantly dyed with a layer of fiery red. His eyes shone brightly, and the 3rd soul ring of the thousand-strike spear's 5 soul rings suddenly lit up. This 1,000-year soul ring immediately caused the thousand-strike spear to become somewhat illusory. Not only that, but the illusory thousand-strike spear's back also faintly spat out flames, causing its body to become even brighter. The glaring light even suppressed the radiance of the red flames. Fei Yuyan had already used her second and third soul skills. Her second soul skill was Blazing Wings. A pair of flaming wings with a wingspan of 4 meters unfurled from the blaze tiger's back. After receiving the amplification of the blaze wings, the blaze tiger's fire-type aura suddenly increased explosively, and the scarlet flames actually began to turn into a greenish-white color. Following that was the release of her third soul skill. A layer of greenish-white flames suddenly separated from the blaze tiger's body. The blaze tiger was originally in the form of a light shadow. This one was similar to it but was even more illusory. The greenish-white blaze tiger flapped its wings and leapt into the air, throwing itself into the thousand-strike spear that was becoming brighter and brighter. Immediately, the thousand-strike spear began to emit dense greenish-white flames, mixed with a deep tiger roar. The thousand-strike spear directly rushed towards Yuhao, who had his eyes closed the entire time. As long as I attack with all my strength, I don't believe that I can't force you to use your true strength. That was what Shinsu thought. In everyone's eyes, Yuhao still hadn't made any movements. Everyone was extremely astonished. Why was he still so calm? Following that, they all noticed one thing. Shrek's group of 6 didn't have a single trace of worry on their faces. The thousand-strike spear was about to hit Yuhao's body. Shinsu was delighted. Let's see if you're still not going to retaliate. If you're not going to retaliate, then you can go down for me. But in the next moment, Yuhao moved. He only raised his right hand and stretched his index finger and thumb forward. The scene instantly turned silent. Everyone's eyes were wide open. Even Thousand Spirits' side looked at Yuhao in disbelief. Of course, the most astonished person was Shinsu, because in front of him, Yuhao's eyes were still closed. He used his index finger and thumb to clamp down on the tip of the thousand-strike spear. Furthermore, the thousand-strike spear was covered in frost. The fire attribute amplification and tiger roar had mysteriously disappeared. How was this possible? Shinsu looked at the petite youth in shock. This guy, he knew the power of the amplified thousand-strike spear. It could even injure a soul emperor. In the next second, Yuhao's index finger and thumb suddenly exerted force. Kacha! The thousand-strike spear shattered. Pooh! Shinsu suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. When the martial soul shattered, there would be a backlash. Lungye! Ice tornado! Quick! He turned his head and shouted. Lungye's fourth soul ring lit up. The cold wind in the air suddenly transformed into an enormous ice tornado that swept out. Shrek's group of 6 suddenly retreated behind Yuhao. Yuhao finally opened his eyes. You guys disturbed me. A red soul ring suddenly appeared beside Yuhao. That's right, it was a red soul ring. Everyone was shocked. Didn't he have 6 red soul rings? Everyone found it hard to believe. Furthermore, the aura of this red soul ring was actually very real. It was even more real than the previous 6. Yuhao's body began to be covered with ice-blue scales. A pair of dragon horns appeared on his forehead, his hands turned into ice-blue dragon claws, and a pair of ice-blue dragon wings spread out from his back. The ice tornado was already in front of him. Yuhao's right hand reached out once again. Under everyone's shocked eyes, he grabbed the ice tornado. No ice can escape my control. You guys are really courting death. Yuhao's calm voice sounded. Lungye instantly felt that her control over the ice tornado had disappeared. What's more, the ice on the ground started to move towards them and froze their feet. The frost bear beside her crawled on the ground and trembled incessantly. Her ice had betrayed her. Yuhao's red soul ring lit up, and a deep dragon roar resounded. Yuhao's dragon claws suddenly grew a little bigger. Then, he exerted force with both hands. The ice tornado collapsed just like that. The ice crystals scattered in all directions like firework. Lungye stared at Yuhao in a daze. Suddenly, she met Yuhao's ice-blue vertical pupils. She instantly hallucinated that behind the Yuhao in front of her was a 100-meter-long ice-blue dragon. Lungye's entire body trembled incessantly, and tears flowed out. Xia was afraid. Yuhao said indifferently, "It's over, Then, with a wave of his left hand, thousands of yellow papers suddenly appeared in the air. There were red patterns on the papers, and they danced in the air as they slowly descended. What was this? Everyone was puzzled. So many papers, what was it for? Just as they were about to reach the ground, a clear and cold shout rang out, "Explode!" Boom, 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 boom. In an instant, a series of explosions rang out one after another. The referee didn't even have time to rescue them because he was already stunned by the consecutive explosions before his eyes. The smoke dispersed, an enormous crater appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The entire 1,000 Spirits team was heavily injured. The 7 of them were lying in the crater just like that. Everyone looked at this scene in disbelief. Sun Moon's team, what exactly is that yellow paper? Its power is actually so terrifying? Marulong looked at the crater in shock, and then glanced at Yuhao with fear. It should be a new type of soul tool developed by Shrek's team, right? Our academy has never seen something like this. Xiao Hongchen said with a frown. What did you use? The referee looked at Yuhao and asked. This is something I developed myself. It's considered a type of explosive soul tool. I call it the explosion rune. It can explode in succession, and the process of making it is very easy. Furthermore, the one I used just now was the lowest level. Yuhao said indifferently. He made it himself? Everyone was in disbelief. Even Sun Moon's team was in disbelief. He was actually a soul engineer? And it didn't seem to be low. He had even created a new type of soul tool? This Yuhao. Why wasn't he born in the Sun Moon Empire? Shrek wins. Since the referee knew that this was a soul tool, there was nothing more to say, and he announced the result. Sun Moon's team, brother. Meng Hongchen looked at Xiao Hongchen. Xiao Hongchen was silent. He only had eyes for Yuhao, and his eyes sparkled. After that, he said slowly, "What a monster! However, I want to fight you more and more. Yuhao, just how many secrets do you have?" The light in his eyes flickered. "Brother, why do you look like you've seen your lover? Don't tell me you've fallen for him?" Scram. I think you're the one who's fallen for him. When you looked at him earlier, your eyes sparkled with adoration. You can't fall for him, he's our enemy. Who said I've fallen for him? Furthermore, it's none of your business who I love, right? Oh, don't tell me you're afraid that I'll snatch him away from you? Brother, were his red soul rings real? If it was the 6 from before, then they must be fake. However, I don't know about the one today, maybe it's real. In fact, he wasn't the only one who thought this way. The other competitors thought the same, because that aura was more real than the 6 from before. Chapter 177. Sun Moon Imperial Academy. Tell me, what do you think after watching today's match? Elder Ma said in a low voice. Everyone from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy was silent. One of the official team members couldn't help but say, Elder Ma, does that mysterious youth from the Shrek Academy really have 100,000-year soul ring? There were 6 last time, but there's only 1 today. Isn't that too unbelievable? Those 600,000-year soul rings were fake. However, the 100,000-year soul ring today might be real. Furthermore, Elder Ma paused and said uncertainly, that Yuhao might have twin martial souls. It's not just might, but he does have twin martial souls. Xiao Hongchen suddenly said. Are you so sure? Marulong looked at Xiao Hongchen. Xiao Hongchen became serious for the first time. This is my 6th sense. I've never believed in 6th sense, but I've decided to trust it today. Furthermore, the feeling he gave me was like that of a living dragon. His 2nd martial soul is definitely a legendary divine beast. It's much stronger than my 3-legged golden toad. It's one of the 9 dragon kings, the ice dragon. What? However, I believe that they're the reserve team, not the official team. Their highest cultivation is only around rank 40. I'm just curious as to why their official team hasn't appeared yet. On the second day, Shrek fought Xingtian. Both parties drew a 2-2-3 match. Su Sanshur and Jiang Nannan fought together in the first match. When the battle started, Su Sanshur temporarily awakened his Xuanwu state when Jiang Nannan was in danger. Once he awakened, he soared to the level of a Soul King. He teamed up with Jiang Nannan to defeat their opponent, a Soul Ancestor with a dagger and a Soul King with a two-winged angel. Although the two-winged angel wasn't as strong as the holy six-winged angel, it didn't change the fact that it was a holy martial soul. It belonged to the top of the pyramid. However, Yuhao didn't even look at her. Yumengdi's martial soul was far inferior to Yi Gai's. Yi Gai's six-winged angel martial soul could evolve into the legendary 12-winged archangel. She was the leader of all the angels. Blazing angels, holy angels, cherishing angels, and the like all had to submit to the archangel. Although I didn't succeed in awakening in the end, since I've come back again, I'll help Gu Yi. According to Yuhao's memories, he Kaitu and Xiao Xiao were supposed to lose the second round. However, Yuhao secretly gave Xiao Xiao an explosion talisman. When the person with the wolf martial soul attacked, Xiao Xiao used the explosion talisman to successfully take care of him. The other person was also defeated by He Keitu's cannon fire. However, Xiao Xiao had directly stuck to that person's body when she detonated the cannon. Thus, she had been injured by the shock waves from the explosion. As for He Kaitu, he had overdrafted his soul force when he saw that Xiao Xiao was injured. Thus, he had fired a super energy-gathering cannon at her. Although he had to pay the price of being weakened for an entire day, they had still won. Shrek won twice. Even if they admitted defeat now, they could still advance. Everyone was in disbelief, because they had also guessed that they were not members of the main team. How could Shrek's reserve team be so strong? Then how strong was the main team? The third round on the stage, Bei Bei stood in the middle, while Yuhao and Tang Dong stood on either side of him. They were about to face Just Sky Academy's final three main teams, their captain and two team members, a rank 58 Soul King and two Soul Ancestors. Shrek is Shrek after all. Although I don't know why Shrek Academy sent the reserve team to participate in the tournament, you've used your strength to win everyone's respect. Even if you lose, you can still advance. However, before that, please let me see your strength. I'm Yi Wuqing, Just Sky Academy's captain. Yi Wuqing looked at Bei Bei and occasionally glanced at Yuhao. From his point of view, Yuhao was the person he should pay attention to. He was too mysterious. Furthermore, his strength was extremely frightening. Bei Bei smiled and said, "You're always acting like everyone owes you money. Don't others know that you can't do it even if you want to? I'll quickly send you off the stage so that you won't feel uncomfortable. Constipation isn't shameful, really. Also, I'll say one more thing. You really talk a lot of nonsense." Yi Wuqing's calm face flushed red, while Shangguan Can and Yen Er's facial muscles twitched. They looked like they wanted to laugh, but were forcefully holding it in. Evidently, they didn't like Yi Wuqing's perpetually expressionless appearance. Yi Wuqing coldly pointed his finger at Bei Bei. After that, he raised his thumb and slowly turned it 180 degrees. Bei Bei ignored him and immediately turned around to bring Yuhao and Tang Dong further away. I hate it when people point their fingers at me. I'll break them later. Bei Bei thought to himself. Does this count as three dragons fighting together? Tang Dong asked. Eldest senior brother, I'll help you increase your strength later. A high-level dragon can use his strength to increase the strength of a low-level dragon. Yuhao said. All right, I'll hold back that constipated guy. I'll leave the rest to you guys. After you're done with those two, come and help me. The tournament began. Yuhao only had 3 soul rings this time. They were white, black, and black. Tang Dong had 3 black soul rings, while Bei Bei had 2 yellow and 2 purple soul rings. Everyone was astonished. Wasn't Huo Yuhao a six-ringed soul emperor? How did he become a soul elder? However, he actually had two 10,000-year soul rings. This might be his true strength. Everyone thought so. Huo Yuhao wasn't a soul emperor, but he was a soul elder. A 12-year-old soul elder. A soul elder with two 10,000-year soul rings. Tang Dong was even more frightening. He actually had 3 black soul rings. After being possessed by his martial soul, his platinum-colored scales and dragon wings appeared especially dazzling under the sunlight. Furthermore, he seemed to be about the same age as Huo Yuhao. 3 10,000-year soul rings. Light Dragon of the 9 Dragon Kings. White Dragon, also known as Light Dragon, Xiao Hongchen said in disbelief. Why? Shrek had 2 Dragon Kings. That blue lightning tyrant dragon couldn't be underestimated either. The blue lightning tyrant dragon's bloodline contained the bloodlines of the Light Dragon, Fire Dragon, and Lightning Dragon. It was said that it could evolve into 3 aspects. It could even become a golden holy dragon, which controlled the 3 elements of light, fire, and lightning. All the competitors were astonished. They had focused all their attention on Huo Yuhao, so they hadn't paid attention to the rest of Shrek's team, attracting attention. All the competitors realized that Huo Yuhao was purposely attracting everyone's attention so that they wouldn't have the time to pay attention to the rest of Shrek's team. Spiritual detection sharing. Connection successful. A 3-dimensional image appeared in Bei Bei and Tang Dong's mind. Let's fight. Huo Yuhao walked behind Bei Bei and placed his hands on Bei Bei's back. Instantly, a strange energy entered Bei Bei's body. Bei Bei could feel that his blue lightning tyrant dragon was about to. Little junior brother, that's enough. This little boost is enough for me to fight that constipated guy over 100 times. Bei Bei transmitted his voice. Huo Yuhao withdrew his hands and nodded. He transmitted his voice back. Eldest senior brother, be careful. Bei Bei chuckled. Afterwards, he charged out and faced Yi Wuqing. Tang Dong grabbed Huo Yuhao's armpits and flew up with him towards the 2 people behind Yi Wuqing. Shangguan Can was about to release his soul skill, but Huo Yuhao directly used spiritual shock to temporarily stun him. Their goal was to deal with Yen first. Yen felt that something was wrong and immediately released her first soul skill. A foot-long fireball flew towards the 2 of them. However, just as it was about to land on Huo Yuhao and Tang Dong, Huo Yuhao smacked it away. That's right. It was just a slap. Yen looked at Huo Yuhao in disbelief. She had just seen his hand turn into an icy blue dragon claw. The dragon claw was covered in icy blue scales and frost. Now, the dragon claw had already disappeared. When the golden leaf in Yi Wuqing's hand was about to touch Bei Bei, Bei Bei was startled. Little junior brother had said that this leaf would explode. Bei Bei didn't hesitate and threw a dart. Bang! It really exploded. Its power was quite great. Bei Bei thought to himself. Yi Wuqing curled his lips. It didn't touch it. On the other side, Huo Yuhao and the others had already closed in on Yen. The corner of Yen's mouth curled up. Little brother, you're too stupid. You've been tricked. An enormous ball of fire suddenly rose from the ground and enveloped Huo Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Yen. More importantly, under Yen's final control, a pair of flaming hands appeared from the flaming cage. They pushed in the opposite direction and rolled the 3 of them off the stage. Yi Wuqing and Shangguan Can, who had just woken up, smiled when they saw this scene. Very good. They had pulled out 2 opponents. This way they would have the advantage. Did you think that my little junior brother would be pulled down? Don't think that you've won just like that. You're too naive. Bei Bei laughed as he looked at Yi Wuqing. Yi Wuqing suddenly had a bad premonition. Oh no. Yi Wuqing seemed to have realized something. Huo Yuhao definitely had a backup plan. In the next moment, the corner of Huo Yuhao's mouth curled up. You're the stupid one, big sister. In front of ultimate ice, flames that aren't ultimate fire can only be crushed. Yuhao said softly. What? Yenner was shocked. Yuhao's torso bone suddenly lit up. It was a soul bone. Everyone looked at Yuhao in disbelief. He actually had a soul bone. A soul bone skill? Yenner was shocked. Icy domain. Ice blue light instantly spread out and covered the area where the three of them were. After the light dissipated, an ice sculpture was lying below the stage. It was Yenner. She still had a shocked expression on her face. On the stage, Yuhao and Tang Dong stood at the side. They looked down on the ice sculpture. Don't underestimate our young age. Trying to play a trick on me? Other than her, who's tricked me so many times, no one else is worthy. You're even more unworthy, Yuhao said indifferently. Tang Dong was a little curious. Who's the her he's talking about? Forget it, let's recover first. We'll talk about it later. Yi Wuqing and Shangguan Can were shocked. A soul ancestor was defeated by a soul elder just like that? Hey, don't ignore me like that. I've already said, don't think that you've won. Beibei's body started to change. His body was surrounded by golden lightning. His two bluish-purple dragon claws, bluish-purple scales, and bluish-purple vertical pupils started to change into golden ones. A pair of golden dragon wings spread out from his back. It's a golden holy dragon. Another dragon? Xiao Hongchen was in disbelief. Little junior brother's amplification is really terrifying. My golden holy dragon bloodline has actually become pure. Bei muttered. Furthermore, he could feel that he had just broken through to rank 50. He was a little surprised. Long ago, he had felt that his cultivation speed seemed to have increased. It wasn't just him. Su Sanshi, Jiang Nannan, He Kaitu, and Xiao Xiao all felt the same. They didn't know why. In any case, their cultivation speed had increased significantly. Originally, they could break through to rank 6 or 7 in a year. Now, they could break through to rank 5 or 6 in half a year. Of course, the further they went, the slower their cultivation speed became. However, their cultivation speed was in the top 7 amongst Shrek's group. Tang Dong, I'll leave that Shangguan Can to you. I'll go help eldest senior brother. Yuhao said. All right. Tang Dong's dragon wings flapped, and he transformed into a shadow as he charged towards Shangguan Can. Shangguan Can laughed. How foolish. Since you're charging at me, you'll become my puppet. He shook the soul-devouring bell, and a wave of spiritual power drilled towards Tang Dong's forehead. Tang Dong snorted coldly. You're the foolish one. You dare to use a spiritual attack on this young master? You're courting death. A blue-gold trident imprint suddenly appeared on Tang Dong's forehead. Boom! A terrifying spiritual attack was reflected back. Shangguan Can suddenly screamed, and blood flowed out of his 7 orifices. Tang Dong half knelt on the ground and put away the radiant Dragon King. I don't know why, but this young master has always found you an eyesore. Did you owe this young master money in your previous life? Tang Dong said coldly. A giant hammer appeared in his hand. It was completely gold, and an eastern golden dragon was engraved on the hammer's head. An invisible pressure appeared, and even the ground caved in by a few centimeters. Twin martial souls. Another twin martial soul? Everyone was in disbelief. Shrek actually had 3 twin martial souls. This was unbelievable. Wang Yen and the rest were even more shocked. Tang Dong had hidden it too well. They didn't even know that he had twin martial souls. However, Wang Yen took a closer look at this martial soul. Could it be the legendary Clear Sky Hammer? It really looked like it. Could Tang Dong be from the Clear Sky sect? Tang Dong spun the giant hammer 3 times on the spot. After that, he released his grip, and the giant hammer flew in a straight line towards Shangguan Can. Shangguan Can instantly felt a terrifying pressure pressing down on him. He was sure that he would lose his life if he was hit by the hammer. Referee! Save me! He was scared. He immediately asked the referee for help. The referee flashed in front of him, and used his hands to block the attack. Boom! Gotcha! The protective barrier was shattered. Even the referee groaned and took a step back. His forehead was covered in sweat. What a terrifying destructive force! Shangguan Can is eliminated, he announced. Tang Dong's mouth twitched. He didn't smash his opponent to death. On the other side, Holy Dragon Domain of Lightning! Bei Bei shouted. A raging wave of golden light was released. The golden light was formed from streaks of lightning. Wherever it passed, the golden light spread. It covered an area with a diameter of 20 meters. What was even more terrifying was that this raging wave of golden light surged into the sky. Under Bei Bei's control, it created a powerful suction force that sucked in all the golden leaves that were dancing in the air. The abilities used by both sides were all golden. Under the violent flash of golden light, the golden leaves were constantly turned into dust. In an instant, they were strangled and turned into ashes. Yu Wuqing was extremely shocked. In the next moment, Bei Bei grabbed his shoulders with both hands. Sizzle! The golden lightning directly penetrated Yi Wuqing's body. He couldn't move. Yu Wuqing was shocked. Bei Bei had also expended a lot of his soul power. He released his hands and took a few steps back. He started to recover his soul power. Little junior brother, I'll leave the rest to you, Bei Bei said softly. Yu Wuqing was penetrated and couldn't move. At this moment, he saw that Yuhao was already charging towards him. He had no choice but to defend himself. He believed that Yuhao wouldn't be able to break through his soul power defense. He didn't realize that Yuhao was acting a little strange. His eyes were closed. In an instant, Yuhao's aura changed. You actually called me out to deal with a piece of trash. Can you be any lazier? The expressionless Yuhao opened his icy blue eyes. His pupils had already turned into vertical slit. He said softly. However, the voice now belonged to a young man. Forget it. The other party is actually someone with facial paralysis. He actually dares to have facial paralysis in front of this king. He's simply courting death. Yuhao said expressionlessly. Yu Wuqing suddenly felt that the person in front of him wasn't human at all. He was like a giant dragon, an icy blue giant dragon. In an instant, Yuhao appeared in front of him. His right index finger lightly tapped on his soul power defense. Crack! His soul power had actually been frozen. How was this possible? He was shocked. His soul power had actually been frozen. Ant, you're too weak, Yuhao said indifferently. He placed his left hand on his left shoulder. Crack! An ice sculpture appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Silence. Everyone held their breath. Everyone looked at Yuhao in disbelief. He wasn't human at all. Some of the titled Doloa felt that Yuhao was like a soul beast that had recultivated. However, they thought about it. It was impossible for a soul beast to have twin martial souls. However, one of the titled Doloa didn't consider this. He was now seeing stars. A soul beast that has recultivated. Ah! I actually picked up such a great bargain. On the stage, Yuhao had returned to his original appearance. However, his legs were a little unstable. Fortunately, Tang Dong and his eldest senior brother, who had recovered, immediately came over to support him. Yuhao looked at the referee weakly. Yes, we won. The referee was stunned. Yes, you won. Shrek wins. Yuhao laughed. Next time, it's better not to possess my body. It's too tiring. Yuhao's vision turned black and he fainted. After that, Wang Yan confessed to everyone. Shrek's main team had sacrificed one person to eliminate the evil soul masters. 3 of them were heavily injured, while the other 3 suffered minor injuries. Therefore, the 7 members of the preparatory team had persevered until now to protect Shrek's honor. After hearing Wang Yan's words, everyone was in awe. They clapped their hands to show their respect. Even the Sun-Moon faction and Xingluo's emperor were the same. In Huiyuhao's room. Yuhao, you're awake? Ma Xiaotao sat beside Huiyuhao's bed and watched as Huiyuhao slowly opened his eyes. With the life energy of the life sword, Huiyuhao woke up in less than half an hour. Sister Xiaotao. Huiyuhao muttered. Next time, you have to know your limits. Don't work so hard, okay? I'm the team leader. This should be my responsibility, but you guys have to bear it. As Ma Xiaotao spoke, she hugged Huiyuhao and started to cry. Yes, she was the team leader, but she had to let these kids persevere. She deeply blamed herself. Sister Xiaotao, it's a little tight, Huiyuhao said weakly. Ma Xiaotao was stunned. She hurriedly let go of him, and her face was a little red. After that, she thought for a moment. All right. I was so worried about you. You're talking to me like this when you just woke up? Ma Xiaotao pressed Huiyuhao's head down onto the bed. I was wrong. She didn't realize that she cared a lot about Huiyuhao. It was as if he was her younger brother. She made a decision in her heart. At this moment, the door opened. Yuhao, don't, what are you guys doing? Chapter 178. You, what are you doing? Tang Dong was standing at the door. When he saw the scene in front of him, his eyes started to turn red. Ma Xiaotao stretched her body before she walked towards the door. When she arrived in front of Tang Dong, she lifted her hand and knocked him on the forehead. She said, You're still young. Don't be so full of nonsense. He should be fine. You seem to have recovered too. Go and have a meal with the two of you. As she spoke, Ma Xiaotao pushed the door open and left. Tang Dong pouted and rubbed his head. He was clearly unconvinced. He hurried in front of Huiyuhao and said, Yuhao, how are you? You look like you've just been ked. Huiyuhao put on his clothes. Just as he was about to say something, Huiyuhao suddenly felt a strange sense of danger in his mind. He subconsciously looked towards the window. Tang Dong subconsciously looked over as well, and both of their bodies instantly froze. They couldn't even move. It was an elder. He wasn't very tall. He was about average height and was very thin. However, he was hale and hearty. On the surface, he looked like he was about 60 years old. He had short, dark brown hair. His eyes were very spirited. His gaze landed on Huiyuhao. An invisible pressure made Huiyuhao feel as if he couldn't breathe. The elder didn't reply. He raised his right hand. Huiyuhao and Wang Dong felt their vision darken. The light around them instantly dimmed. A terrifying soul power that made them feel as if they were suffocating instantly covered the entire room. At this moment, they felt as if they had entered a cage. They didn't even have the chance to struggle. In the end, they simply stopped struggling. Elder, you're a titled dolo. Don't you know how to knock before entering? Huiyuhao said coldly. Tang Dong was slightly shocked. This old man was a titled dolo? Soul beasts have sharp eyes. You can see through my abilities. You must have been a very powerful soul beast in the past, right? Tell me, which of the 10 great savage beasts did you recultivate from? Don't try to quibble. Titled Dolua's senses can't be wrong. Huiyuhao's face turned cold in an instant as he cursed. 10 great ferocious beasts? Are you stupid? The weakest of the 10 great savage beasts was at least 200,000 years old. Soul beasts that had passed 200,000 years couldn't cultivate again. How could a titled battle pet warrior like Dolua not know this? How did you survive for the past few decades? Also, have you ever seen a soul beast with twin martial souls recultivate? Are you really Dolua? What *tch? That titled battle pet warrior Dolua was surprised. This guy was not afraid of him? Furthermore, he had indeed forgotten a few points. Soul beasts that exceeded 200,000 years couldn't recultivate. Furthermore, after recultivating, it was impossible for a soul beast to have twin martial souls. It could only be its original body. It was obvious that Yuhao wasn't a soul beast that had recultivated. Impossible. Although he had thought of this, he couldn't back down so quickly for the sake of his own face. When you were fighting with that soul king, you clearly emitted the aura of a soul beast. Although it was just a flash, it was definitely the aura of a soul beast. Yuhao said coldly, "My second martial soul is one of the 9 great dragon kings, the Ice Dragon King. It also has a trace of spirituality. I can use that trace of spirituality to temporarily release its true strength. What else do you want? Kill me? You can try. I just hope you won't regret it." Yuhao didn't give him any face at all. He just stared at that titled battle pet warrior Dolu. That titled battle pet warrior Dolu curled his lips and instantly moved in front of Yuhao. "I want to see if you're a soul beast or a human." He grabbed Yuhao's neck and lifted him up. Boundless soul power instantly surged into Yuhao's body. But then, 2 scale-like objects lit up on Yuhao's chest at the same time. 2 terrifying forces of black and gold and silver shot out at the same time. Ah! That titled battle pet warrior Dolo was instantly sent flying. He slammed into the wall, and his surroundings returned to normal. That old man crawled up in a sorry state. What was that?" He couldn't stop trembling. Just now, the feeling that it gave him was as if 2 enormous dragons were standing in front of him. "I told you not to regret it. That's a protective talisman that my sister and an uncle gave me. Not to mention you, even Super Doloa and Limit Doloa can't hurt me," Yuhao said indifferently. That titled battle pet warrior Doloa trembled. "You have 2 Limit Doloa behind you?" Yuhao didn't say anything. He just stared at him coldly. "Alright. I was unlucky today. I shouldn't have bullied the weak. But I also hope that you won't tell anyone about what happened today. Otherwise, where will I put my face? How much is your face worth? Why don't you let us tell you?" Tang Dong was indignant. He had been scared out of his wits. Furthermore, he had bullied Yuhao. He couldn't tolerate this. Yuhao patted Tang Dong and told him to calm down. Then, he stared coldly at that titled battle pet warrior Dolu. If he remembered correctly, this person was the protector of the Xianra Empire. His name was Qinggang. He was about to be beaten up by Elder Xian. "Leave. Think about the consequences before you act next time. But I'll remember this humiliation. 9 years later, I'll make you pay for it." Qinggang was stunned. He didn't pay attention to Yuhao's words and disappeared in front of them. What kind of person is he? How can someone like him become a titled battle pet warrior Dolu? He's scum. Tang Dong said disdainfully. Alright. We'll make him pay when we become titled battle pet warriors Dolu. Yuhao consoled him. That's right. Yuhao, what are the 10 great savage beasts that he mentioned? They seem very powerful. Tang Dong didn't understand. Of course they're powerful. That's because they're the 10 strongest soul beasts known to mankind. They're at least 200,000 years old. Of course, they're only the 10 strongest soul beasts known to mankind. There are soul beasts that are stronger than them in some places on the Dolua continent. However, they're all unknown to mankind. Yuhao explained patiently to Tang Dong. Oh? They're that powerful? Then what's their ranking? Tell me about it. Tang Dong was immediately energized. Yuhao thought for a moment, then said slowly, the 10 great savage beasts refer to the 10 strongest soul beasts that are known by people. Their ranking is based on their age. The one ranked 10th is a dragon with a cultivation of 200,000 years. However, there is very little information about her, and no one knows what kind of dragon she is. Little Z doesn't know if she's a dragon either, but who cares, let's leave it at that for now. The one ranked 9th is also a dragon with 200,000 to 250,000 years of cultivation. She's called the Demonic Infernal Dragon King. She's the king of the demonic infernal dragons. She's one of the other dragon kings. There are many races among dragons. Those dragons with pure bloodlines who lead their races are called dragon kings. The one ranked 8th is the three-headed scarlet devil mastiff, who has the bloodline of the three-headed hellhound. She has 290,000 years of cultivation. The one ranked 7th is the dark golden terrorclaw bear king, who has 480,000 years of cultivation. However, his fighting strength is in the top 5. The one ranked 6th is the demonic eye tree, who has 540,000 years of cultivation. The one ranked 5th is the emerald swan, who has 590,000 years of cultivation. Her healing abilities are very strong. The one ranked 4th is the ice jade empress scorpion, who is also called the ice empress. She has 600,000 years of cultivation. However, this is only the guess of Super Dolu. As for how strong she is, no one knows. She has the bloodline of dragons, and can transform into her dragon form. She's called the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion. The one ranked 3rd is the Snow Lady, who is also called the Snow Empress. She's an extremely mysterious soul beast formed from the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the extreme north. Her cultivation is unknown. However, someone in the extreme north saw her fight with the Ice Empress and suppress the Ice Empress. That's why she's ranked ahead of the Ice Empress. The one ranked 2nd is the Evil Eye Tyrant, who has at least 890,000 years of cultivation. It's said that he's on par with the number 1 savage beast. However, no one saw it with their own eyes, so he's ranked 2nd. The one ranked 1st is the golden-eyed Black Dragon King, who's currently the leader of the Dark Dragon King race. He's about to reach 900,000 years of cultivation. This is the information I know about the 10 great savage beasts. They're so powerful that I don't even know about them. Tang Dong's eyes were seeing stars. Yuhao was a little exasperated. He really wasted a lot of time talking. He took out a cup of water and drank it in one gulp. Outside the western gates of Xingluo City. This is to teach you a lesson. As a titled Doluo, you have to have the pride of a titled Doluo. You're bullying 2 kids with 2 and 3 rings as a 9-ringed soul master. You're a disgrace to your titled Doluo, an elder said slowly with his hands behind his back. Behind him, there was a person whose face had been beaten until it looked like a pig's head. He was kneeling on the ground. If Yuhao were here to take a closer look, he would have recognized that this was the Xianra Empire's protector Dolu Qinggang. He was the titled Titan Dolu. However, he'd been beaten until his face looked like a pig's. "Senior, are you an ultimate Doluo?" Qinggang asked in a muffled voice. "I'm not." The elder shook his head and denied Qinggang's words. "You're not? Then may I ask Senior's Doluo title?" Qinggang asked, still unwilling to give up. The elder curled his lips and said, "How did you answer those brats? I'll return it to you now. You're not qualified to ask me what my Doluo title is. You're not qualified." As he spoke, he kicked Qinggang in the chest and abdomen. Qinggang felt as if he was flying through the air. However, this kick wasn't too heavy. When he landed on the ground, the sloppy elder had already disappeared. Qinggang shook his head and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Qinggang bitterly muttered to himself, "A frog at the bottom of a well, I'm really a frog at the bottom of a well. I thought that after becoming a titled Doluo, I was already at the top of the world. I didn't think that I would be nothing compared to a true powerhouse. Shrek Academy, what a Shrek Academy! I'm going to go back and cultivate. I'm going to break through to Super Doluo as soon as possible." "You don't have a chance anymore," a cold voice sounded. "Who is it?" Qinggang suddenly trembled. An invisible force locked onto him. The Herculean Doluo was struck by an emotion called fear. In front of him, a pitch-black crack suddenly opened. A blonde girl around the age of 14 walked out. "It's you, isn't it? You dared to touch Yuhao?" The girl coldly looked at Qinggang. "You? Who are you?" Before Qinggang could finish, the girl's right hand had already slapped him. Crack! Blood splattered everywhere. A titled Doloa, the mighty Doloa, disappeared from the Doloa continent. Even after all the titled Doloa of the Sianra Empire went out to look for him, all they found was a pool of blood. My hands are dirty. The girl took out a handkerchief and wiped the blood off her right hand. 3 words were embroidered on the handkerchief: Wang Qiu. Should I go to Shrek Academy as well? The girl lowered her head and pondered. All right. Let's wait until Huo Yuhao returns from Sun and Moon. Then, the girl made a pulling motion in the air with her hands. A pitch-black crack suddenly appeared in the air. Then, the girl looked behind her, but didn't say anything. She stretched out her right hand and bent her fingers, making ka-ka-ka sounds. Then, she walked into the crack and disappeared into the darkness. The crack slowly closed up. An old man suddenly appeared where she had been standing. It was the old man who had taught Qing Gang a lesson. If Yuhao was here, he would definitely recognize this old man. He was Elder Xian. What a terrifying person! Is she Yuhao's sister? This strength. Could it be that she's already surpassed the limits of Doloa and reached the legendary demigod realm? Yuhao, this brat, has such a powerful sister. She discovered me a long time ago, but didn't do anything to me. Maybe it's because of Yuhao. Elder Xian muttered as he took a sip of wine. Chapter 179. When they were assigning classes, Huo Yuhao saw Xian Ziwen. Xian Ziwen was once a soul tool maniac, and he was also Huo Yuhao's mentor. When Xian Ziwen saw Huo Yuhao's Class 5 Soul Engineer badge, he was slightly shocked. However, he didn't think much of it. He brought Huo Yuhao to Laboratory 3. After Huo Yuhao displayed his exceptional talent in soul tools, Xian Ziwen started to treat him as his student. Furthermore, he said that he would join the Tangmen if Huo Yuhao had any soul tools that could interest him in the future. He had successfully recruited him. Xian Ziwen had a lot of knowledge. Huo Yuhao treated it as a refresher. Creak! The laboratory door opened, and Huo Yuhao was jolted awake. He subconsciously looked in the direction of the door. Suddenly, Huo Yuhao's body trembled. His pupils shrank as he stared in shock at the person who had just pushed the door open. It was a young girl. She still looked a little sleepy. The young girl had long black hair and looked to be around 17 years old. She had a pair of big, lively eyes that were hazy with sleep. Her skin was really too good. There wasn't a single pore on her tender skin. It was as if water could be squeezed out with just a pinch. She was wearing the same school uniform, and it accentuated her good figure. Her lazy and natural aura was very eye-catching. Juzi! The guilt that Huo Yuhao had buried in his heart suddenly surfaced. However, it was immediately suppressed by Huo Yuhao. He had to take his time to settle Juzi's matter. Teacher, why are you so early? It's rare. Juzi didn't seem to see Huo Yuhao. She only greeted Xian Ziwen lazily. After that, she walked to the large laboratory table and sat down. She placed her hands on the table and lay down. It seemed like she wanted to catch up on her sleep. Ahem. Xian Ziwen coughed twice. Juzi, stop sleeping. Can't you see that there's a newcomer here? Juzi lifted her head to look at Huo Yuhao and was momentarily stunned. She had never seen anyone so beautiful and masculine. Are you a new junior? Hello. My name is Orange. From now on, I'll be your senior. Alright, I'm going to sleep. Don't disturb me. Juzi didn't even give Huo Yuhao time to introduce himself before she went back to sleep. Huo Yuhao was sweating profusely. Xian Ziwen said helplessly, "You don't have to care about her. She's just like that. Her name is Juzi. You can call her senior sister in the future, or you can just call her by her name." She had been researching soul tools until very late last night, and her experiment had lasted until midnight. That was why she had only just woken up. I've brought a total of 4 students with me. The other 3 have gone out to train and will probably be back in a few days. Huo nodded. Xian Ziwen stood up and walked to Zhu Zi's side. He suddenly shouted, "Time to eat! Ah, it's time to eat! Hurry up! Otherwise, we won't be able to eat the fried prawns and eels." Zhu Zi, who was still sleepy a moment ago, suddenly jumped up and dashed out of the laboratory under Huoyuhao's gaze. It was as if there was a spring installed under her butt. Xian Ziwen burst into laughter when he saw her like this. Huoyuhao couldn't stop sniffling. Not long after, Zhu Zi ran back angrily. She lifted her hand and threw an orange-yellow ball at Xian Ziwen. "You're lying. You're lying again. There's no fried prawns or eels. I'll smash you to death." As she spoke, orange-yellow balls flew out of her hand one after another. Huoyuhao hurriedly stood in front of Xian Ziwen and grabbed the orange-yellow balls. Within a few seconds, Huoyuhao's arms were filled with oranges. "Ah!" Zhu Zi was a little shocked as she looked at Huoyuhao. "You're so fast!" Huoyuhao placed the oranges on the table and picked one up before eating it. "Oh, it's sweet and sour. My spiritual power has increased by 20%. It tastes good," Huoyuhao praised. In fact, he had never eaten oranges from Zhu Zi before. Why does it feel weird? This was his first time eating them. "Junior's hands are so good," Zhu Zi said. "Senior Zhu Zi, I'm a guy," Huoyuhao said helplessly. "Ah? That can't be?" Zhu Zi covered her mouth and looked at Huoyuhao in disbelief. "His name is Huoyuhao. He's a new student. He's a guy," Xian Ziwen said. "Huoyuhao." Zhu Zi sized up Huoyuhao. "That's a nice name. If anyone bullies you in the future, tell me." "Zhu Zi, are you strong? How can you say something like that?" Xian Ziwen said. Zhu Zi blushed and pouted. "I'm not strong enough, but I have a strong backer." Xian Ziwen also shook his head. Huoyuhao frowned when he heard the word backer. He frowned. Su Tianran? In any case, they were very familiar with each other. Huoyuhao pointed out many of Zhu Zi's shortcomings while she was creating soul tools. "Oh, I'm the senior. Why can't my knowledge of soul tools be better than yours?" Zhu Zi complained. Huoyu laughed bitterly and shook his head. Zhu Zi's talent in soul tools wasn't very good. Her real talent was in her brain. She had a very calm and demonic mind. It was the same mind that had tricked him many times in the past. Furthermore, if he didn't remember wrongly, Zhu Zi quickly went to sleep and had her meal. Huoyuhao continued to research soul tools in the laboratory. Slowly, it was the second day. Huoyuhao cleaned the laboratory and was about to go out for his meal. However, he met 4 people when he opened the door. One of them was Zhu Zi. She was still holding a plate and eating the fried shrimps and eels inside. The person in front was a tall and muscular young man. He was more than 2 meters tall, and his muscular body was comparable to Hikadu's. Even his skin was dark. In the Sun-Moon Empire, dark skin was a symbol of nobility. This muscular young man had short brown hair, and his eyes were bright. His bulging muscles stretched his uniform. Behind him was a very petite young lady. She wasn't as pretty as Zhu Zi, but she was charming. She was only about 1.6 meters tall. The third person was also a male student. He was handsome and tall, and was slightly taller than Huoyuhao. His golden hair draped over his shoulders, and his nose bridge was high. His blue eyes were deep and lively. Yuhao, let me introduce them. They are your seniors," Zhu Zi said as she ate. She looked at the 3 of them and said, "He is Huoyuhao. He's a new exchange student. He's our junior." The 3 of them were in disbelief when they heard the word junior. "He's actually a guy?" Huoyuhao was very polite as he said, "Nice to meet you, seniors. I'm Huoyuhao. I'm a new exchange student." The petite young lady was already disdainful. "Don't try to get close to us. Who's your senior? Did we allow you to call us that?" She walked towards Huoyuhao with her hands on her hip. She looked very aggressive. Huoyuhao smiled and said, Then how should I address you? If Yuhao didn't remember wrongly, her name was Cuckoo. Cuckoo was stunned for a moment and her aura dissipated. Let's not talk about this first. Who allowed you to enter our laboratory? Yuhao laughed. Of course it was Teacher Xian and Senior Juzi. Cuckoo snorted. But we haven't agreed yet. This is a place where we study together. Come out with me. I have something to ask you. Yuhao was puzzled. What do you want to ask? Cuckoo said, You'll know when you come out. Yuhao walked out and the two seniors entered. Cuckoo pulled Juzi, who hadn't finished eating the shrimp-fried eel, into the laboratory. Hey, what are you doing? I haven't finished eating yet. Cuckoo closed the door as she entered. With a bang, Yuhao was left outside. Yuhao shook his head helplessly. Why is it like this again? You guys forced me to do this. Yuhao stretched out his right hand. The ice dragon Dreadclaw, which was a mutated version of the dark golden Terraclaw bear's right palm bone, appeared instantly. 5 sharp icy blue claws and icy blue scales on the back of his hand pierced into the alloy door. The ice dragon Dreadclaw had 5 special effects. They were Devour, Absorb, Tear, Crush, and Frostbite. It was an extremely powerful external soul bone. A tearing sound was heard. The sturdy protective soul door was torn to pieces in a second. The 4 people inside were stunned as they looked at the expressionless Yuhao at the door. D. The alarm sounded frantically. The 4 of them were still stunned as they looked at Yuhao. You and you. Yuhao pointed at the 2 men and Cuckoo with his ice dragon Dreadclaw. After that, he pointed outside and said expressionlessly, Come out, ******. On the way, Yuhao and Juzi talked about the war. Juzi said that she hated war, but she wanted to avenge her parents. Her parents had died when the Xingluo Empire and the Sun Moon Empire went to war. Yuhao told her that she was very similar to him. Both of them had hatred in their hearts. However, Yuhao told her not to be blinded by hatred. She could take revenge, but she couldn't implicate others. If she did that, how would she be any different from the person who started the war? If your parents were still alive, they probably wouldn't want you to do that. After hearing Yuhao's words, Juzi's heart slowly changed. However, her desire for revenge didn't change. At the very least, she wasn't as murderous as before. Yuhao shook his head helplessly. It's really difficult to convince her. Take it slow. Her enemies were exactly the same as her own. They were both White Tiger Dukes. Furthermore, Juzi had been very ruthless in order to take revenge. Everyone knew about their encounter with the Silver Moon Wolf King. However, Yuhao didn't kill it. He only used the Dragon King's aura to scare it away. However, it attracted a bunch of soldiers to surround and attack Yuhao and the others. Yuhao was so angry that he had nothing to say. He directly activated the self-destruct device. In the end, to protect the 2 girls from the explosion, Yuhao protected them in his arms. After that, he was only slightly injured. After that, he was fine. The 2 girls were stunned as they stared at the wound on Yuhao's back. The wound healed in just 2 seconds. They both took in a deep breath. That powerful explosion just now only injured Yuhao? Furthermore, his wound healed in less than 2 seconds. Is he a monster? Thank you for protecting us. If we hadn't implicated you. Cuckoo was a little regretful. It's fine. It's just a small injury. Yuhao said. The 2 girls looked at him with a strange expression. Small injury? That explosion could even kill a 10,000-year soul beast. We've been out for a few days. It's time for us to go back. Yuhao calculated the time. It was time to go back. However, after reporting to Xian Ziwen, Yuhao was about to return to his dorm. It's him. Capture him. Wang Xiaojie stood not far from the dorm and pointed at Yuhao. Beside him were 6 middle-aged men in their 30s or 40s. He was wearing the standard armor of the military. The 6 of them released their martial souls at the same time. There were 2 soul emperors and 6 soul kings. The leader of the group walked in front of Yuhao and waved a token in front of him. He said coldly, "Royal stewards. Are you Yuhao?" Yuhao crossed his arms in front of his chest and said without giving him any face, "If you have anything to say, then say it. If not, then scram." The middle-aged man and the soldiers were instantly enraged. "How dare you? How dare you speak to us like that? I won't say much. You're suspected of assaulting and harming a member of the royal family. If you know what's good for you, then come with us and assist in the investigation." As he spoke, he took out a pair of golden handcuffs. The soul power undulations on his body became stronger. If Yuhao dared to resist, he would immediately be attacked by the 6 of them. Yuhao smiled and didn't say anything. If he wanted to kill them, he only needed to use a little strength. However, he didn't plan to do so. "I'm an exchange student from Shrek Academy. Please inform the teacher in charge of this. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't be able to bear the responsibility," he said indifferently. However, those people didn't give him any face. Kacha, kacha. The golden handcuffs locked onto Yuhao's wrist. Immediately, a strong restraining force came from the handcuff. However, Yuhao's lips curled up slightly. He tampered with the handcuffs a little, and the restraining force disappeared instantly. However, those people didn't feel it at all. Wang Xiaojie strode in front of Yuhao, his eyes full of viciousness. He grabbed Yuhao's hair and punched Yuhao's abdomen with his right fist. However, what he saw wasn't Yuhao's pained expression as he imagined. Instead, he saw Yuhao's squinted eyes and a terrifying smile. "Does your hand hurt?" Yuhao said with a smile. Wang Xiaojie suddenly felt that his hand didn't hit Yuhao's abdomen, but rather a majestic mountain. The pain instantly spread throughout his body. "Ah!" He immediately hugged his right fist and rolled on the ground. It was as painful as it could be. Is your body made of a mountain?" He looked at Yuhao with a hint of fear. "Ha ha." Yuhao just smiled and looked at him. He had already opened 3 of the 8 inner hidden gates. Moreover, he had already unlocked the 9th potential of the 3rd gate. Right now, even if a titled warrior Doloa stood in front of him and hit him with all his strength, he wouldn't cry out in pain. "Cousin!" That middle-aged man hurriedly helped Wang Xiaojie up. "Cousin, kill him! Kill this bastard! He actually dared to fight back." Wang Xiaojie fiercely pointed at Yuhao and said, "Fight back? Which eye of yours saw me fight back? I only saw you attack me. Oh yeah. I didn't expect you guys to be cousins? It seems like you guys want to give me a good time. Oh my oh my. Looking at your pained expression, I know how much pain your right hand is in right now. You don't dare to believe this, right?" Yuhao still had a smile on his face. Everyone's anger had reached the max. Wang Xiaojie was about to hit Yuhao again, but he was stopped by the middle-aged man. "Cousin, haven't you learned your lesson? You can't hurt him at all. Don't worry, leave it to me. I'll teach him a lesson for you." Cousin, you must be ruthless. I'll go with you." Wang Xiaojie held his aching right hand and said. The middle-aged man shook his head and said, "No. It's better for you to stay in the academy. This way, you can shirk responsibility and say that this matter has nothing to do with you. You're not young anymore, how can you be so brainless? Xian Ziwen has already spoken up for this kid. The higher-ups have also agreed. If you continue to interfere, do you want to be punished? Be honest and pretend that you don't know about this matter. I know what to do." "Oh." Wang Xiaojie unwillingly left the middle-aged man and came in front of Yuhao. He laughed coldly and said, "You can only blame your bad luck. How can you touch someone from the royal family? You're from Shrek Academy, right? Let's go back and have a good chat. I want to see how you're going to make us regret it." Yuhao had an even colder smile on his face. Don't worry. I'll make you regret being born into this world. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.